I'm Sam. This is SamBar Podcast. This is our second episode. Got a friend of a friend here that wanted to be on the show, and we needed someone to fill the seat. So here we are. Introduce yourself however you want to. And
How's it going? I'm a dude. I'm been in law enforcement for 5 years. Started off as a deputy sheriff, and now I work at a unnamed law enforcement agency somewhere local. So I'm also a canine handler. I do full-time patrol and part-time SWAT. So
gotcha. I'm assuming the canine part is where you're in with SWAT, or
no,
are you actually
well, we have a few dogs, so three of our handlers are SWAT guys as well. So it just kind of really depends. And then we've also got another 3 handlers that have dogs that could be used at any time for SWAT stuff. So it really doesn't matter. I guess it just depends on who's working. If it's on day shift, we have something like SWAT come out on day shift. Like we may pull one of the other handlers and I'll run, in a stack or whatever. So right now, I mean, with the agency I work at, like we kind of have a set stack, and they were talking about making me the point man. Hasn't happened yet. We don't really do a whole.
So, do you get like your own take home car, like SWAT specific? Or?
No. Everybody gets a take home car. The agency I work for really does a pretty good job of supplying us, which most places around here in Alabama, you're gonna have a take home car unless you work at like they have to like hot shot rides every 8-hour shift. But most agencies, they're gonna give you a take home car here.
I just didn't know if it was the blacked out Tahoe. You see that blacked out Tahoe, it's just a regular.
I just have a canine car.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. Yeah, you can. We have so many different people that are in SWAT. We have some of our narcotics guys are on the SWAT team. We got 3 canine handlers on the SWAT team. We got 2 lieutenants that are on the SWAT team. We got a couple guys that are just regular patrol. It's a part-time team, so it's like patrol comes first. Like you're answering calls, and you're going to domestics, you're going to alarm calls, you're working wrecks. That's the priority, and then SWAT is second. So,
well, at least y'all have a SWAT team. We're with my PD down here, it's just like, hey, if it gets bad enough, we'll
call the county.
We either call Sam or the county, whoever gets here first.
That's it. Yeah, this is the first place I worked that's had one. When I started off as a deputy sheriff after I graduated from Bama in 2017, got my criminal justice. Roll Tide. But the sheriff, I knew him. I campaigned for him like when I was like 18 years old or whatever, and I was going door to door like Jehovah's Witnesses, just, hey, have you heard about our future sheriff? Anyways, he hit me up or whatever after I graduated, and I was working for Steyr at the time, which is they make the AUG and sniper rifles. Horrible, hated it, terrible. Anybody that's watching that wants to go in the gun industry, don't.
I've heard that.
Especially if it's a European manufacturer. Like, I got a buddy that just got hired at SIG, and he's ready to...
this is America, damn it.
Dude, they suck, man. Like, it's... Anyways, I digress. Yeah, so I was working at Steyr, and really was not having a good time. I was doing law enforcement sales and stuff, but it was... I don't know. The people that all worked there were not gun people. They were not. They were golf people that worked for a gun company. Like that's what they did. They went on the boat. They drank beer. They played golf.
It was a business to them.
They didn't care. Yeah, they didn't care. So,
that sounds boring.
It sucked. Yeah, and so I ended up getting a call from the sheriff or whatever. He ended up actually messaging me on Facebook and was like, "Hey, do you wanna come be a deputy?" I was like, oh, "Yeah, dude." Mm-hmm. I was a criminal justice. I had a criminal justice degree, so I was like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do." And I went down there on Monday. he said, "Hey, come down Monday and talk to me or whatever." Came down Monday. I had the job that afternoon, and then I started my law enforcement career. So that was right at almost 6 years ago. So been,
yeah, that's about when the try not to say his name, but the guy recommended you.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the same time he got started, I believe.
Lot of
most of my friends, but I guess with our age group, you're what
29.
20, same. I just turned 29 last month, so it's
it's all downhill from here.
Yep.
You're gonna start being like, oh my gosh, I'm almost 30. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm already there.
It hit me hard, dude. Like I don't know how 30 is gonna be, but 29 like hit me super hard. I was like, bro,
I'm a senior in high school. It brings you back to that
seriously.
setting, and you're like, oh, now what?
Seriously.
But I guess it really kind of depends on what all you want out of life, because I know there's those seniors that after they graduated, they never stopped going to the high school parties.
They were still seniors forever.
Yep.
And where I went to school at, that was kind of how it was. I went to a little small, you ever heard? Yeah. Yeah.
My brother-in-law called it, and
everybody does.
And I could not I was like, what are you talking about? And then he starts geographically explaining it, and I was like, bro, that's...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nobody knows about it unless they're going to the beach. Yeah, a real small town, but man, I just get off track. I don't remember it.
That happens a lot,
dude.
Here.
It's gonna be like a tree of just talking from this to that to this.
It's kind of why I decided to start recording it, because sometimes you're just so all over, and then you got to piece it together. Even though this might sound weird, but I still watched it just to see how I do. I was immediately critiquing myself. I was like, I say way too much. So
I can't wait to see I hate my voice, so I can't wait to see.
Same. That's you're your own worst critic. So
yeah.
I watch it, and sometimes, like with the last episode, I went and I watched it, and I was like, I forgot we talked about that. So it'll be kind of interesting to.
Oh yeah, it's like that. You ever It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or whatever.
I heard of it.
Yeah, it's got the guy, and he's like looking at the board, and it's got like all these like strings and everything, and he's like explaining stuff.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. Yeah, 100%. So I haven't watched it either.
But I know the meme you're talking about.
The meme is out there.
Yeah.
So
we speak in meme here, for sure.
Yeah. But anyways, started my law enforcement career. I went to the Deputy Academy, which was like I guess the Cupcake Academy. Like, I don't know if you ever heard any cop. They're like, I went,
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
Like it's Paris Island apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if
I went to the state trooper one.
If you didn't go to and the state trooper one,
you
ain't
cop?
a real police officer. That's just how it is.
Yep.
So, but I ended up going to the Cupcake Deputy Academy, which was cool. We learned how to like wrestle pigs and wrangle cows. And, that's what we learned. It was cool.
Go to Texas, boy.
We did not learn how to do rec reports, which are my traffic. The traffic guy
can't get a DUI on a horse.
No, you actually can. You actually can get
if it's got reins.
I think you can just get a DUI on a horse. I think any kind of I think a golf cart. Yeah. I don't know if it's even a motor. I mean, somebody told me
it's at least 1 horsepower. So
yeah,
you
can get a DUI on a horse. We could stretch that. Yeah, especially in my city. I think we could do it. Like, yeah, he's going. So, but yeah, I did that. Started off there, and it was a super rural county. Like, I don't know if you've been up there to stuff like that.
Yep, my wife's family is actually, a lot of them are in.
Okay. What's her maiden name?
So her grandpa is from up there, and he's a.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So his, I think he still has some of his sisters that live there. They're the. The. Trying to think who else, but anyway, they still got thousands of acres up there, and like good portion of it.
That's the best.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everybody does. They move out and they buy land. And they use it as hunting camp land.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Hey, that's the
So,
dream.
yeah, it is. But yeah, it's pretty. I like it out there. It was very wild. I mean, it was boring some nights. Like a lot of nights would be really chill, but like it was the craziest stuff. Like being a deputy was the craziest shit ever. It wasn't. Can I? Is
Yeah.
cussing? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, dude. Like it was. Some nights you wouldn't have a single call, but like there was some freaking banana stuff that would happen up there. Like just randomly. Dealing with a lot of just everybody's on meth up there. Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I know there was one guy.
Everyone's a dealer.
Oh, dude, they so much. Like I know one dude. I can't remember even who his name was, but he had a boatload of it. Like got trafficking methamphetamine. You know, so that's pretty common. You know, you'll get some of that.
The fact that you brought up wrangling pigs and all that, it's like
Cow calls every night, dude. Cow calls, pig calls.
cow farm.
Dude, seriously. And you'd be driving 30 miles
Oh yeah.
to get there. You get a call, and I would always hang out like if I was the east side deputy, I would hang out up there just kind of in case there was a bad call that came out on the west side, I'd go back up the other deputy, or if there was a call on the east side, I could still go handle that. And dude, I'd get a call like, you ever heard
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing out there, dude. It's like deliverance kind of
Jeez.
shit. Yeah. So, but you get a call out there and they'd be like, hey, there's a pig in the roadway. I'm like, why am I driving 30 miles to go find a pig in the roadway?
Call the game warden.
When the pig's not going to be there in,
5
40
minutes.
minutes. Yeah. Like, I mean, seriously, there's 4 deputies in this whole county. Like you going, just 10-8.
Yeah.
10-8, we'll move on. So, but yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff out there, a lot of fun stuff. The good thing about working at like a rural agency like that, working in the county, so I did everything by myself. I didn't have anybody. Like I had a really good FTO dude. He was great, like really really sharp and taught me the way. And I really started like making a bunch of cases up there. County deputies, like we have like a very very good working relationship with the smaller municipalities. You have a really good working relationship because like being a county deputy, you get a call, somebody need assistance all the time. So I got to work with a lot of different kinds of dudes. I had a lot of different ways of policing. Where some guys, like if you work for a small municipality starting off, you really just get like who's on your shift. It's kind of like you're almost on an island. Yeah. You don't like where I work at now. I don't really see state troopers a whole lot. I don't really see deputies. I don't really see other like police officers other than guys on my shift. So like the good thing about when I worked at the sheriff's office, I made friends. Like when I got there, my goal was, okay, I got to find out who the top hitters are. Like who are the dudes that make the most cases and that really know what they're doing, and I've got to like learn from them.
Yeah.
And I would go, and there's a few of them. There's a couple of them that were troopers that were really freaking good, and they would do driver's license checks, which we don't really do that down here that much, but we would do it all the time up there. And it wouldn't be like this whole planned out, put it in the newspaper deal. Like, hey, we'd be at Lisco's. We'd be like, guys, where you want to set up? Y'all thinking? We're like,
yeah,
sounds like a good one tonight. So we'd get up there and we'd have 2 or 3 cars out there, man. So it's not on the reservation, but it's damn sure close.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm talking about if we spent 30 minutes out there on a Friday or Saturday night, dude, we never got a jail bus, but we would need one.
Yeah.
I mean, we were locking them up left and right, dude. Everybody there, at the end of the night, you'd see freaking tons of little baggies thrown out on the side of the road from guys, oh shit, and just tossing them.
Yeah.
You getting car chases up there,
That's wild. I didn't know
and
all
they're
that.
actually good at car chases up there, man. Like they freaking black out and use the moon as their headlight. I swear.
That's like Georgia state troopers. They don't mess around. take you
Yeah,
out.
no, I'm talking about the criminals though.
Oh.
Like
So they're good at it.
they're
They're
good
good
at
at
car.
evading.
They get a lot of practice, man. Yeah, they're really good. Like, down here, just about every car chase I've been in, there's so much more resources down here. Like every car on my shift has spike strips. We have surrounding agencies. The
Yeah.
radios are good.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, you do have a lot more resources up there.
there's no resources. So like, they were really good, and they've been running from the police, since they were little. So
well, and there's probably a whole lot less light pollution up there too. So when, like here, you go dark and try to use the moon, you can't see the moon because there's all these street lights, all this everything up there. When it goes dark, you've got the contrast is huge.
yeah, they sure enough they would do that a good bit, and it worked. And they would we'd chase them, and they would freaking back into some side alley road, and we had 4x4s. We had like Tahoes, but they were 4-wheel drive Tahoes. They were not pursuit rated. So
Yeah,
like, dude, I got smoked by like a Honda Civic one time.
that's sad.
Embarrassing. And they actually made a TikTok video about it, and like had all the agencies they ran from, and like they put my agency in there. Yeah. And I was
That's
the dude.
bad when
I
you're
was the
getting-
dude that got smoked, dude. I couldn't like. So I was sitting there on.
I'm heavy.
It was like 2:00 in the morning, man, and this car just blew my doors off. It was one of those like. It's one of those like Honda Civics, like had a spoiler on it,
yeah.
like lawnmower engine
Yeah.
kind of deal. And dude, he blew my doors off. And man, I tried to catch up to him. I put my lights on, dude. He just kept going, and my car topped out. There was no catching up. It just topped out.
But see, that's what the F-150s, the new F-150s. Those things are stupid quick.
Yeah.
But I took ours out for a spin. It was me and another officer in our F-150s here. They're new.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd get to the cutoff quick. Granted, we don't have the room here. I guess you could technically run, but it's not wide open. Like, you're going to have to slow down for someone or something soon enough because we're a pretty small area.
Yeah.
But you'd get there quick, but yeah, it'd cut you off.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not winning any car chases at that. I mean, not if they're really trying to get away and you're in a wide open area, dude, and they want it more than you do. Like, dude, you're not.
Best you can do is put a bolo out and...
Yeah, or call the next agency and spike them, dude.
Yeah.
Spike them.
Depending on how bad, what your reason is for chasing them. If it's just
well, it's always misdemeanors for the most part. Like but now they got that new law. They have the new law that if they go over 25 miles an hour over, it becomes a felony. So it's a little bit easier. Kind of like,
19 cruise 19 over. Oh, I'm not stopping.
That's it, dude. But the last couple of car chases I've been in have been like really slow car chases, like really, really slow. Like I had one dude I stopped. He was dirty as sin. Like he had dope in his car,
Yeah.
he had warrants, he had the whole shebang. But his idea was as soon as I turn my lights on, he's like, I'm gonna slow down, I'm gonna turn my hazards on, and I'm just gonna. He stopped at every stop sign, every red light.
He just didn't continue stopping.
Yeah, he just didn't continue. And like as soon as we got out of the car, like he would be stopped at a red light or whatever, we got out of the car,
And then he'd
take
go
off again. Yeah. And so we ended up, it was like 2:00, 3:00 in the morning, and we did a felony stop on him or whatever. And he was like, I'm having a heart attack. And I'm like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then, fire comes out there and
No, you're not.
They're like, well, no, with the fire department, generally speaking, they don't want the liability of telling somebody they don't, so they're like, oh, your blood pressure's a little elevated. Well, yeah, he's in a car chase. He just got ripped out of the car.
Yeah.
Like his blood pressure is going to be higher. But, oh, well, we recommend it. And I get it.
Yeah,
I
you
totally
don't want that
get it.
lawsuit.
They don't want the lawsuit. But, like...
Then someone's got to babysit him and...
Yeah. Oh, I did. I had to babysit him for hours. And then, it came to a point where they hadn't released him, and they just said, hey, just sign warrants. I was like, dude, what the hell,
All that for...
Nothing.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. And I had a trainee at the time. I was FTOing this dude, so he got to drive and learn the ropes and all that. I got to see him in a car, which is nice, see how they really respond in stressful situations, which it wasn't that stressful because, I mean, we were going like 45 miles an hour, but,
Well,
you
and
know,
that's
to him it is.
my
So.
buddy. He actually, my best friend was at the academy with
Uh-huh.
and that's how I met actually. But he was telling me whenever he was so my friend whenever he was with his FTO, he remembers the first time they got a call for a signal 8, and he can run code to that, and then like comes over the radio and goes, oh, and the cop was like, calm down, yes, you can run code, calm down, do your thing. And he goes, and then he was, I don't know if he was uh, on patrol for a year. He ended up calling I remember all the PD guys were talking about it that heard it. And they're like, that's how you call a car chase. Because I think the lead vehicle in the pursuit, I think he's actually with, do you know?
Which one? There's 3.
The dog handler? Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, I think, was the lead vehicle. And was second, and he was calling it the whole way. And then he was like, I just knew they were going to terminate the pursuit because what it was, there was a gas station. Someone went inside and I guess left their car running, but it was a Cadillac CTS-V, I believe.
Good car.
Good car to run in. Oh, very
that
good.
And Honda Accords and
they're surprisingly quick.
Camrys, Corollas, those are like car chase vehicles.
And he so the call comes out, dispatcher's like, hey, gives the description of the vehicle. He's like, got a stolen vehicle, this like just happened, like be on the lookout for white. And you've been around
no, not really. Yeah, well, no, I stay on the north end.
Bridge. It's kind of a big bridge going over the yacht club and everything. So as they're getting it over the radio, they're like, be on the lookout for white CTS-V, like 2019. They're given the description, and they see these lights come up over the bridge. Well, I mean, Cadillacs, most of your newer cars, they have a pretty distinct look to their headlights. Those LEDs are a different kind of crisp.
Yeah.
And when you're on DIP, not all cars have that.
Yeah.
So as they're hearing the description, they see it come over, and they don't hit any lights and nothing. They're driving by, and then once the car passes them to where the headlights aren't blinding them, they lock eyes and they're like, oh, that's the guy.
That's it.
And then lights ain't on yet. They just turn around, and then you can hear it just wham, took off. Yep, that's our guy. Hit the lights. He start chasing this guy. I mean, I'm sure I'm getting some details wrong, but like, oh, we're approaching speeds 120 coming up on this. Like, he's just cool as a cucumber. That's the whole reason they didn't call the chase. Because when you guys go, we're going really fast, we're going to get this.
Oh, they're cutting it.
Oh, they're like, no.
1025, 1025.
Yep. And he's like, we're approaching Davis, whatever. I'm not very familiar with the area. He's like, coming up on speeds approaching 120, 125. I think they went to about 130, and they're like, all right, just keep doing what you're doing. And they got, I think he finally wrecked out or something.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens with the chases anyway.
Yep.
So I was like, that was having that, like, kind of knowing that, having that ammo. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. Not getting like overhyped, like, yeah, let's go do it, let's go. It's just like, it's our job, this is what we're doing. These are the circumstances. We're going kind of fast, but we're trained for this. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Let's go get this dude. And
well, I've noticed, like, the more you do it, I mean, you don't really know how you're going to react to certain, like, situations until you get thrown into it. And I know for me, at least, I'm not going to say I've never been scared, because I have, especially out in the county when I was, like, by myself.
It's
there's
just me and the Lord out here.
me and the Lord. Yeah,
Got some
100%,
crickets.
dude. That's it. So, but I know with like some situations I've been in, I didn't really start getting panicky until after it was over with.
And
I
then
was
you
like,
realize what
oh
you could have.
shit.
Yep.
I almost died. Like I had a situation when I was at the county. And it was just it was a really slow night. There was like nothing going on. And I got a call for a reckless driver, right? Like out, it was out. It's a desolate wasteland that no one should ever go to, by the way. But anyways, I got a call out there, and for reckless driver calls, especially in the county, like you're not gonna find them.
Yeah.
You go out there, you say I'm in the area, and then you get 10-8. So I'm out there, and any kind of like debauchery that was going on, everybody there was on meth and having intercourse with cows and it was bad. So
Roll Tide.
oh dude, yeah, horrible.
That seems like
living
more like
in
a War Eagle activity. Though.
I don't know, dude. It's something like it, and there's tons of mosquitoes out there. Like they carry you away. It's like right on like the river, so there's tons of mosquitoes, and it's all like every time that you get a call out there, it's going to be some dude with tattoos on his neck and face at 2 o'clock in the morning, tripping balls, covered in sweat, and it's just a horrible place. Like people live like you would see. They'd have like trailers, and they would have holes in the floor cut out where they shit through the holes. Like there's no electricity. Some of them don't have electricity. You'll see like kids like playing in dirt piles, and it's like July, and they're wearing their school uniform. Because that's what they
got.
Yeah, so it's a rough spot. But anyways, so I got a call out there, and I was like, fuck, I gotta go back to her. And anyways, I see a semi truck driver when I get in the area, and he like flags me. I say, "Hey, there's a car it's wrecked out at the bridge." I'm like, okay, and it matched the description of the vehicle that came out. It was like a white Hyundai Elantra or some shit like that.
Yeah,
maybe it was a Kia Optima. I can't remember. It was a white car, and it had no tag on it. So I get out that way, and I see the car. And I turn my lights on because I'm thinking, oh, it's just a wreck. It's just a wreck. I don't have to work wrecks anyways. I'm just gonna make sure these dudes are okay. And I'm gonna get the hell out of there. Wait for a trooper. Yeah. So as soon as I turn my lights on, dude, I start getting shot at. So I put that bitch in reverse, right? And I had a brand new 2020 Tahoe that had like the rear view camera. So I got below the steering column, put it in reverse, got about 200 yards back, was hitting my patrol rifle button, trying to pull that out, charging around. And then I waited. I got to the back of my car. I ended up getting probably about 5-10 feet behind my car, so I could still see everything and have the whole vehicle cover me.
Yeah.
And anyways, I didn't know where the gunshots were coming from. Like I never saw any muzzle flash. Never saw any muzzle flash.
Heard it.
I heard it. Yeah, as soon as I turned the lights on, I heard it, but I didn't see it. So I thought I was being ambushed from the trees because this is like super rural area. There's trees on this side, there's trees on that side. Nobody lives out here. The people that do are not your friend.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just had my patrol rifle out, and I was just waiting for somebody to come out. I was just waiting for there to be somebody that pops out of the woods, with a gun, whatever. Well, I ended up calling, I called shots fired on the radio, and the nearest deputy was in so that was like 30 minutes away, give or take. Yeah. And so they came up.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of held my ground. And then when we got there, we ended up easing up to the middle, and we got to the car, and the deputy would open the door. He was like, "Oh, fuck," So there was a dude. The dude had shot at me 4 times. The 5th time, he put the SKS in his mouth and popped his top off.
That's why he stopped shooting.
That's why he stopped shooting. Yes. So turns out, and he was 17. It's the kids that'll kill you, dude. It's the kids.
Oh yeah.
It's the kids that'll kill you. But he was 17. There was a passenger in the car too. They had shot up a house. I guess they were geeked out on something or whatever and thought that it was chasing them. Whatever. It wasn't even messing with them.
We didn't even know you existed.
I mean, they knew they existed, but they weren't like actively searching them at the time.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was like, they were driving recklessly. They had a pound of weed in the car. They had the gun was stolen, the car was stolen, and I guess when they saw my lights, they thought I was. So that dude, I mean, I'm just making a guess.
Assumed.
He was like, oh shit, I'm done for life. Which, and he didn't end up killing anybody in that shooting into an occupied building. So he was a juvenile. He would have gotten a slap on the wrist and went on his merry way. Again. But dude, he put it in his mouth and pulled the trigger. And dude, what was crazy? So we weren't like maybe 15 yards. Like all he had to do is aim in that little box. But I think I startled him. I don't think he was expecting anybody to.
I think he was just making noise.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I'll never know. But he had the drop. Like, I mean, he totally could have. And I
didn't realize that till
I didn't realize it till later. Like after the fact. Like I wasn't. So the whole time I was like, it was fine. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say it was fun, but it was.
It was collected.
It was fine. Yeah. Like, I mean, it was just, I was just problem solving at that point, just figuring out what I needed to do. I didn't scream on the radio. I just kind of, I mean, at least I didn't think I screamed on the radio. The dispatcher told me I did really well with it. She's like, I didn't, like when you said shots fired, she's like, when you said shots fired, I didn't really think, like it was kind of calm. So I was like,
is it really?
Is it really shot? Yeah. So it was strange. And dude, it was the first time I've actually seen something like really, really bad like that. Which I saw, like where I work at now, I don't really see a whole lot of bad stuff. Like it's a nice city, it's a nice area, and there's some bad stuff you'll come across, but it's not the same extent. Like the dirty houses where I work are like not the same kind of houses that I worked at prior. Like it's even the domestics are not the same level. Like in the county, the domestics were like, I mean, dude, ears bit off, chicks getting choked out with their own hair, teeth knocked out,
Kinky.
Like bad stuff. Anyways, yeah, it was way worse, man. Like the stuff up there, and then like down here, like a domestic might be like, he pushed me. Okay, but yeah, it was I don't know, like that kind of messed. It didn't really bother me. Like I'm not one of these just like, I can't sleep at night. I'm just hurting inside because I saw but I saw worse stuff up there. I saw way worse stuff. But this dude, like,
well, now you are kind of in civilization to where even because where you're at, honestly, it's one of the nicer areas in our region.
Yes,
So even your criminals are civilized.
Yeah, the shitheads we have for the most part are not from our area. I mean, we got a couple that live in the city, but like for the most part, it's people coming through,
passing through. Yeah,
it's people from the neighboring area, the places that butt up to us. So now we got a few, but it's really not. It's not too terribly bad. And I work for a good agency, and that's the good thing where I work at now too. Like, dude, we chase till the wheels fall off. We're allowed to go out there and police. We go out there and kick tail. Do what we got to do, and they're not gonna fuss at you for making arrests. And I mean, so and we have that reputation where I'm at too. So like people know to not. So you're not gonna see the stuff that you saw there because. There, I mean, there's 4 deputies at night.
Yeah.
And it's a 900 square mile county. Where we're at, like, they have a nickname for us, anyways, they have a nickname. Like, anytime you arrest some, like, gangbanger, like, they're like, oh, I knew better than come to this place. And so, they let us go out here and police, and I think a lot of that deters some of the worst stuff that comes on. Like, the
because they know you don't play.
Yeah, like the murders that we've had have been like, they were in our jurisdiction. They were not in the city. That was where our murders happened. They didn't even happen in our zip code, but they were our jurisdiction. I mean, so, but yeah, like, when I was at the sheriff's office though, like, dude, some wild stuff. Like that dude, that was the first time I saw something like that. And that dude, like, his freaking brain was like on his shoulder, and his like, I don't know if you ever saw Jeepers Creepers. You ever seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
No. Anyways, there's like a scene where the dude, like his like face is like pretty much peeled off, and like his eye sockets are bare, and it's just like it's
Jeez.
like a mask kind of deal. That's what it looked like.
So he
With the
hit
dude's
shuffle on his face.
dude. His like there was just a hole where his eye like was like the skin, but there was no eye there, and it was his brain was like sitting on his shoulder, and he was still like there was still agonal breathing, like he was still sucking air in, but he was like dead. Like paramedics came and put leads on him, and I was like, what are we
Why?
doing? They do that though. They do
No,
that.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
they're
it's-
like, they throw it on there.
Put this
and they're-
back in, screw the
but
lid on.
he was dead as shit, you know. And
How long did it take for I guess it was the deputies show up from the time you called shots fired to
dude, I don't even know. Like, I remember.
we're talking like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't like an hour.
Okay.
You know, it felt longer than it was, I guess, but I don't. Jay Florida's not too far
Yeah.
from Riverview, so it didn't take, and they were running code, you know, so it didn't. I don't think it take too long.
Especially at night and being clear roads, they could
Yeah,
probably
they were
book
shagging,
full-
shagging ass. It wasn't like super long, but you know, it was longer than I'd would have liked. But yeah, it didn't really bother me until like the end, until I was like, oh dude, like I could have been dead. You know, if that
Yeah.
dude just had all he had to do is
focused.
aim in that little box, and but yeah, yeah,
It's
SKS,
a rifle round.
yeah, SKS, yeah, 7.62. I mean, it would have freaking went right through my vest, and I would have been. I
Well,
would
let's be
not
honest,
be here.
those are never accurate. You know how them people shoot.
At
with
10
them.
yards or 15 yards.
Oh, yeah, 10,
you know?
15, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if, dude, he didn't hit my car, so I don't guess he was like aiming.
He might have
I don't
just-
know.
Like I said, he may have been making noise. Just
He
to,
may have.
Just
Well,
to like,
I'm
oh,
thankful.
blue lights.
I'm thankful. That's
But
what,
it's a tool in your toolbox to like never get complacent. Even on your, I hate hearing this every time. It was a routine traffic stop. There ain't no such thing as a routine traffic
Yeah.
stop.
yeah. Well, it was, you know, and that's one thing that I always tell that story to the trainees I have now, because they tell you that when you go to the academy, you know, they're like, hey, look. Well, they didn't really tell me that in the academy. They told me, my FTO told me that. But he was like, look, you know, like, you never know. You never know who you're dealing with. Like, you may think it's just some nonsense. It may be a domestic. It may be a wreck. It may be whatever. And you're walking up, you know, just ready to get 10-8 and go get you something to eat or whatever. And that person's planning to kill you. And so after I experienced it, I was like, oh shit, okay, so this is the truth. Like, this is the real deal. These people out here can kill you. They get a vote, you know, and just because you think it's nonsense, like, this dude may have a murder charge. He may be running from somebody. He may be just crazy as run over a dog, and he's
Yep.
planning on taking somebody with him. And so you really just never know.
It's my.
So I take it you are a Bama fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We got 2 natties when I was there. I didn't help, but you know,
I was there though.
because my chief is like super huge Alabama fan, and like once I graduated, dude, I didn't give a shit anymore. I was like, whatever, you know, like I've bitten enough fingernails off
Yeah.
pulling for the Tide. Like, I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. We got 2 national championships when I was there. I didn't help in any way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter, and I really just kind of don't care as much. But my
I pull
chief was.
for him, but it's not like it doesn't alter my life.
It used to. It used to, like, for me, I used to be like upset if we lost to Auburn, or I'd be upset if we, you know, whatever. And I would be sitting there at the games, or I'd be, you know, biting my fingernails. And then, like, once I went there, dude, I was like, man, it's,
That's all right.
yeah. Well, and dude, it was like, when I was at Bama, so it's very heavily Greek. Not like Greek, like as in, you know,
Yeah.
from Greece, but it's like very like sororities and
Yeah.
fraternities and all that. And I was
That
not
is tiring.
I was
Just-
not any of that shit. And they were all kind of tools. Like, they were wiener
Oh, yeah.
schnitzels, and I just didn't really ascribe to that. And so I don't know, like, I went to my first Bama game I ever went to was versus Middle Tennessee, and it was, it's a freaking cupcake game because you could buy a student package, an Alabama student package, and it'd be like $40, and in the package would be like LSU, Arkansas, Middle Tennessee, and Georgia Southern. It'd be like two good games and then like two bullshit games. Or you could get the other package. Like the other package would be like Tennessee, Kentucky, and then it'd be one bullshit team. So you could either pick either or. And then the next year you'd get the Iron Bowl package or you'd get whatever other package. So there'd be like two you could pick from. But it'd be like 30 or $40. And so I would get the package and everything, and I ended up going to the Middle Tennessee game, and I would sell the rest of them. I'd sell the good tickets because some freaking fraternity dude that's from California would love to go to the LSU game. So perfect. Here you go, brother. So I went to this Middle Tennessee game, and it was like me and two of my buddies, three of my buddies. They were engineering majors, and so we, this is the first game we got to go to because they were always busy doing crazy shit and maths and all that kind of stuff. So we went up there and we got there like super early. It was like September maybe. It was hot as balls, and we went up there and like there was nobody in the student section at all. So we sat behind the goalpost. I was like, okay, that's cool. We can get the full view of the game. And then like 30 minutes later, all the drunk fraternity guys started coming in, and they just show up and they want, and they're like, "Hey, are you a Sigma Chi, bro?" And I was like, "No, we're actually not." Well, this is our spot, and there's no assigned seating.
No,
but like it's a hidden rule.
Yeah,
like fraternity's like, "No, this is Sigma Chi's territory, man." So
well, suck my Chi. I got here first.
Dude, they were chodes. They were the worst. And so, anyways, we realized like, okay, these are big ass fraternities, dude. Like they have like a couple hundred members.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of freaking dudes here, and there's only four of us. And I mean, I'm not great at math, but 4 versus 200. This is not the movie 300.
No.
I'm not King Leonidas, and I'm not winning. So, and I don't think King Leonidas ended up winning either. So the odds weren't in my favor, and we were like, okay, well we'll go, and we left, and
so
whatever.
You got to pick your battles.
And I was like, man, fuck this. I'll never go to another game. Like, I think I ended up going to like maybe one more in the student section, but I sat by the band or whatever, and it was just not a good time. And the thing is, they're not kids from Alabama. They're not like, they're not kids from Chatham or Atmore or
There's some
Huntsville, Tuscaloosa.
douche canoe from Mizzou.
Yeah. Kids from Mizzou would probably be
better. Fit than
no, these are
Cali.
kids from Dallas Fort Worth or California, or like, hey, I'm from Colorado, bro. That's
cool.
The type of people that would be there. And so yeah, so I what I would do, I'd sell my freaking student tickets, and I would go on the quad and hang out and enjoy watching the TV of the players and seeing their sweat. And actually seeing what's going on, because I couldn't see shit anyways,
Well, that's, so when you brought it up and you started telling your story, I was like, I got you on this one. I went to one Alabama game, my first one, probably at this point 10 years ago, something like that. We went, it was a cupcake game. It was like maybe the third one of the season. We sat in the nosebleeds. I went to a Bama game. Check. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but I can't see nothing. This was like, it was literally a check in the box. That's all it was. Went for the experience. Well, about 3 years ago, 3, maybe 4. So Bama lost to Texas A&M, 4 years ago? Let's just say 4, for the sake of this story.
Yeah.
4 years ago, they lost to A&M. Well, the following year, they were playing A&M again, and my nephew was like, hey, I bought tickets to the Alabama game versus A&M. It's at Bama, but I bought them on the A&M side. He's like, we're going to go over there, we're going to sit, we're going to talk a lot of shit. And I was like, hey, he actually had a friend that was supposed to be going with him. Friend ended up bailing last minute. He calls me, I think it was that morning. He's like, hey, Luke can't go. You want to go? Sure. Wasn't planning on it this morning, but sure. So we end up going, and it was like the 40-yard line, like 3 rows back from the sideline. Like it was good seats.
Mm-hmm.
He paid, I think, like $1,700 for it. It was
Yeah,
a
jeez, dude.
pretty insane amount of money
Insane.
for these tickets. Well, we go, and I remember it was like you've got let's say the left side is gates 1 through 30, and then the other side is gates 31 through 60. I don't know, something like that. Well, or it'd be 32 through 60.
Mm-hmm.
And on our gate, on our tickets, whatever, it said we had to go into gate 31. So it's like we go, we see these numbers and we see these numbers, and we're the one that is on neither of them. I was like, where do we go? So we made it through security. We go through all that. And by the way, I'm going to add to this story of saying I dressed up like my dad's a lawyer. You know, I had nice clean jeans on. I had my boots on. I had my Alabama belt with like the little metal studs on there with and just all the nice stuff that I had gotten and I almost never wore. And I remember, so my wife's sister, she would go to Bama for their, she was a cheerleader, so in high school, and they would go to cheer camp at Bama. So I remember my mother-in-law, she got me some like their authentic Bama gear one time, and I was like, oh, this is cool, you know. But I hardly ever wore it because we never went to any games, never really did anything. So I finally got to wear this stuff, and I've had it for almost 10 years. So I dress up nice. We're going. I've got my Alabama polo on. I've got my hair combed back, my beard trimmed. I look like I said, like my dad's a lawyer. Like I belong in the nicer section. My nephew, who bought the tickets, mind you, has some red sweatpants from Walmart and a t-shirt, a Bama t-shirt from Walmart, sleeves cut off, the sweatpants turned into shorts, cut them off, didn't even cut them level. It's like just riding up in the crotch. Yeah. And he's wearing like white socks up to here, those old like New Balances, like the old people New Balances. He looks like honestly a student. He just looks like a wild student. So we get there. We're trying to find our seats, and we go, and we're like, hey, we don't know how to get to these seats. Which gate do we go? And they're like, oh, go here, go there. We kept getting the runaround, and we just saw a line with people. We just got in line. We're sitting there, and I'm like, you know, I don't remember waiting in a line once we got past security, but whatever. We wait. We go up. They asked to see our tickets, and I was like, that's weird. They asked to see our tickets. But hey, last time I was here was almost 10 years ago. Things might have changed.
Yeah.
So we show it, and they're like, all right, go ahead. They give us a wristband. And I was like, okay. Didn't really think too much of it. And I was like, not trying to base my experience, because I'm like, hey, after all, we got good seats. We're like right there. That's why they're giving us this wristband. So we go through, and now we're in line to get on an elevator. I was like, why are we getting on an elevator? We're like, supposed to be right there. Like we can smell the sideline. Whatever. We get on the elevator. We go in and we go up to this guy because we can't find our seats. We go up to this guy. We're like, hey, these are our seats. We want our seats. How do we get there? And he kind of looks. He's like, how'd you get in here? I'm like, oh no, man, but these are our seats. Paid big money for these seats. We want our seats. He's like, okay, but I mean, you could just hang out here. And like, why would we do that? We want our seats, damn it. We paid big money, and we're like kind of being douchebags.
Yeah.
Like, we want our seats. And he's like, all right, well, this is how you get there. You go up, the best thing to do is go all the way to the top, go around, and then just take the stairs or the elevator down. Then that'll put you where you got to be. All right, appreciate it. So we go. And then as we were walking around, I was like, we're getting close to where we're supposed to sit. And I was like, I can't really see much except for like right there. I can see the 40-yard line, the 30, and the 20, and that's that's about it. Or the 50 or whatever. We were just up there. I look at Ruben, I look at my nephew, I was like, we were just up there, weren't we? And I look, and it's the Champions Club.
Yeah.
we got into Champions Club somehow.
No shit.
And I was like, we're going back. Screw these seats, dude. We're going back. So we went, we had the wristband. So they let
Hell
us
yeah.
in. And we go, and now I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, well, these people have their spots. Like, they got their seats. People who, and I texted my mother-in-law. I was like, hey, guess where we're at? And I sent her. She did the research. So those seats were $10,000 a piece.
No shit.
The seats, that's not counting the tickets. The ticket was $5,000
Bro.
a piece.
That's like the boxes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
and we didn't know that, but the way you get the, it sounds like, and we did the math. It should have cost us $27,000 between me and my nephew to have that night that we had. And I was like, who pays that? But I come to find out, and somebody that does this a little more might correct me, but basically you make a donation, you know, to the alumni or whatever. You make the donation, and that's how you get that seat. It's big companies that do it. They get this big tax write-off because they're donating to this school. So it's a donation. But they now get this seat, and then you still got to buy the tickets, which ain't cheap, but almost 30 grand for these two guys. I look like I belong there. I'll say that much.
He did not.
He did not. And I took my jacket off. I was like, stop looking like a tool and put this on.
But dude, that's how it is nowadays. Like, some of these kids, like, they don't
respect the.
No, they just wear whatever. Like, dude, I spent 3 years up there getting that degree, and I saw a lot of rich kids dressed like a bag of ass. So,
well, and that's even with us, like, we went, and I told Ruben, I was like, all right, we're gonna go, we're gonna sit. If someone comes in, we're sitting in someone's seat, we'll just kind of mosey. And the thing is, the rooms are like, they had the couches, the TVs, the like, you can sit in the warm and go eat all the catered food that was there. I'm talking like egg rolls, burgers, hot, not just like your concession stand food. I'm talking like good food.
Shit. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And we went and we were eating, and at first we didn't want to, because we got seats, and I was like, all right, no one's kicked us out. It's good seats. We're gonna stay here. I'm not worried about food right now. This is a good place to be in. So then we went and got food. We come back. I left my jacket in our seats, and someone had moved our stuff, and I was like, I guess that was the people that were really supposed to, the people that paid 10 grand a seat. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Is that your stuff? We moved it. I was like, it's okay. I'll allow it. You know, and you look around, you got, I mean, you know what they look like. Visor, sweater vest.
The big visor, like the golf, like the Kirby Smart visor.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to have that.
And everyone in there looked the same. And I will say, that was pretty neat. That experience was definitely better than nosebleeds. But for me, it was cool that I got to do that because I have that story. If I got that guarantee again to like have that same experience, I might go. But it's not like, I will have to go.
I don't get it. Yeah.
To me, first off, I hate a lot of big crowds. That just ain't my thing. But I just don't want to, like, even after the game, you either got to leave early and you don't get to see
stuck forever.
Or you're stuck there. Which we jumped the fence and cut through the cemetery because
we always left early, man. Always.
It's not worth it. Granted, we ended up staying because it was kind of, one of those close games, and I remember we won, but I was glad we did it. It was, like I said, it's a cool story. I told several people about that, and they're like, you could fall into a pile of shit and come up smelling like roses. And I was like, well, that was a rose.
That's what y'all did.
That's what we did.
Yeah, man, I went to one game that I really enjoyed, and it's crazy because we didn't even win the game. Like, it was old. You remember, it was probably 2015 or 16. Anyways, it's where Ole Miss had the powder baby blue helmets, and they beat us at home.
I don't remember quite.
A lot of games since then. A lot of games. But
we won a lot more than we lost, buddy.
Yeah, but, dude, so one of my roommates, he gave me 2 tickets that his dad worked for like some really big company or whatever. He's like, hey, I got these 2 tickets. We're not going to use them. Do you want them? And they were just like in regular seating. And so I was like, yeah. And me and my dad went. And my dad and me, like, we've been watching Alabama games since I was like young. And so that was the first game we ever been to. And he got a free ticket, and we watched Ole Miss and Alabama play. And we ended up losing, but it was so nice, dude. We weren't around a bunch of shithead college kids. We were just kind of hanging out, and there was even like a Florida Gators fan wearing a Florida Gators jersey.
It was
Like, right
probably
in front.
Jason.
And it was so nice though, because like everybody was just, it was old people, it was old farts. And they were just doing the same thing.
They were there to have a good time.
We were watching the game, and it was a night game. It wasn't too hot. I mean, yeah, it sucked we lost. It was the year Jake Coker was there. Jake Coker was quarterback. So whatever year that was. But anyways, that was the most fun game ever. I don't know, it was just something me and my dad did. That was nice. Because I hated the games. Like, I was not a fan. I sold every freaking ticket I could, and I made good money off that shit.
I was about to say,
I would go to the quad. So you'd spend $30, right? And then there was like I don't remember what it was, but like whenever you go to school up there's like a bunch of group chats, and there's like Facebook pages and stuff like that. And so I would go up there, and you'd post it, be like, hey, look, I don't LSU ticket, name your price. And you'd have some freaking sorority girl or fraternity dude or somebody's like, oh, dude, I really want that ticket. Can I get it? And they spend $400, $300, whatever. And so I'd take that, and dude, at the time, like, bro, I worked at Academy Sports in Tuscaloosa on the gun counter, selling freaking TARS, PT,
and
high points TARS. Hey, I sold a Glock 19 to Bo Scarborough. I sold a Glock 19 to Bo Scarborough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I sold a lot of guns, dude, up there. But I wasn't making a whole bunch of money, and then I also did. So you've been to Tuscaloosa, so you've seen the golf carts that ride around and they carry drunk people to and fro. Yeah. I work for them. I work for Joyride.
Okay.
And so that's all you did. You just would pick up like drunk girls and drunk dudes, take them from Innisfree, Rounders, those bars, and you drive them back to like presidential dorms or whatever, or wherever they lived, if it's in that vicinity. Because it would be like, so there's Lauren B. Wallace, there's was it 15th Street, maybe? 15th Street. And there's, dude, I can't remember the damn streets, in Tuscaloosa. But it's like a little block that the school is surrounded on. Right. Like a big ass block. And, anyways, so anywhere in there, you'd have this little go-kart, and it was like fast as fuck. Like, I mean, it was fast, and it had like either 6 or 8 seats.
It's a Tesla, boy.
Dude, it was fast. Them things were fast. And like, there was the GroupMe app, and you would see like people would post, be like, I need to ride from East Edge, that was another apartment complex, to Innisfree, which is a bar, or Rounders, which is a bar. And so you'd hit like, and you'd be headed that way, and it was like $5 a head. So if they had 6 people, 6 times 5, you get that, and then they tip you too. So like Parents Weekend was like crazy.
I was about to say,
Parents Weekend was nuts, dude, because these people are all like freaking loaded and didn't care about that. So they give you like $100 tip, and it was an honor system. So you like just, if you got $100, Joyride, the company, got 50 of it. They paid for your gas. They got half of all your proceeds. So I made a shit ton doing that. But like, I only did that like a couple nights a week, and the rest of the time I worked at Academy Sports, not making a whole bunch. So
and selling student tickets,
dude, and buying American Eagle 5.56 for $7 a box. Remember those days?
The good old days.
The good old days.
See that right there? There's plenty of ammo cans.
Hell yeah.
I bought those whenever I was at drill.
Mm-hmm.
I'd buy them from, you ever heard of Tier 1 Group? T1G? They're out of,
I probably have. I don't.
But they do a lot of training for either like Academy or Blackwater.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of high-end, high-speed dudes that do a lot of training with them. But I was at 3rd Force in Mobile. And one of the recon guys, he was a sniper. He was an instructor at T1G. And one way or another, he'd get the ammo hookup. Man, I used to buy 9 mil at, I think, 11 cents a round. Or maybe even 9 cents a round.
Good.
Like dirt cheap. I'm not talking like, oh, here's a 50 round box. I'm talking 1,000 round box that I was buying for no more than $130.
Yeah.
For 1,000 rounds of 9 mil.
Yeah.
And it was, I basically, whatever he'd have, because I didn't want to be the guy just always buying his stuff up. So, like, I'd get a box of 5.56 at like 20 cents a round.
Yeah.
And so I was buying it up and getting at least one box at the beginning of drill. And then at the end of drill, if no one else bought anything, hey, man, I got whatever you got left, I'll get it. That way he didn't have to tug it back home. Well, I did that for probably 2-3 years. So I got a lot stockpiled up. At one point, I had probably 25,000 rounds of 9, about 18,000 rounds of 5.56, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, and everything went up and
everything went up, and you couldn't get ammo nowhere.
Nope.
And I made a fortune because I probably have maybe 10,000 rounds left of 9, and maybe 5,000 rounds left of 5.56. Because I left it. The way I was looking at it is, if I ever have to shit and get, that's still a lot of ammo to carry with you. That stuff's heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why would I have 25,000 rounds if I'd need a forklift just to get it out? And so when people were basically, it was name your price. 9 mil was going, I was selling it. I was selling it to pawn shops for 50 cents a round. And there was one that that was like, they were calling me, hey, you got more? You got more? And I was like, I don't know if I want to sell any. And then I think at one point I was selling them 50 cents a round. Then I was like, I don't want to sell anymore. And they're like, we'll give you 60. But the reason they were fine with that, because
bananas.
They were selling it for pushing $1 a round.
Oh,
but it wasn't even, for them, it wasn't a matter of the price. It was, that drove their gun sales up. You're not going to buy a gun if you can't buy ammo for it.
Yep.
Well, guess what? They got guns and now they got ammo. Yep. They were selling ammo in those yellow dime bags. They were selling dime bags.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
And they would sell for like, it'd be 10 rounds in there. And 10, I think they had it between like 10, 25, and 50 rounds per bag. And that's how they were able to make their money. And they would always be like, yeah, we'll buy it. I was selling 5.56 at $1 a round. That was insane to me.
That is nuts.
I probably made, I think I had like 5 or 6 grand for sure, without question, that I made off of ammo. And I think the amount of money that I had spent on ammo, all of it couldn't have been more than 2 grand. So I definitely made my money back. Now I'm like, I want to go shooting more. And it's like, if I had 25,000 rounds of 9 mil, I'd burn through it a little more than what I do now. And I think, like I said, I'm sub 10 on it now, and it's
still pretty good.
Have you heard of Stealth Arms?
No, dude. I'm pretty well versed, but you're throwing out companies I've never heard of.
So Stealth Arms makes, they used to do a lot of 80% lowers.
Yeah.
Now they've got, so you've heard of Staccato.
Yes.
And the Springfield Prodigy makes the 2011 and the Staccato 2011. Mm-hmm. Well, here comes Stealth Arms, and it's like, hey, we're going to make this high capacity 1911 that takes Glock mags.
Yeah.
Which people that didn't like the main problems that I've seen people complain about Staccato is their price, the magazine prices. Well, you're $2,500 on the gun.
In a gun.
And then you're talking
$100.
Yeah. I think it was like, last I checked, it was like $60 a magazine for a Staccato. And even then, if you drop them enough times, it changes the geometry of the mag, and the magazine wasn't as reliable. It wouldn't lock open on the last round.
Yeah.
That's stuff that I found out about.
It's a big deal.
Well, Stealth Arms is like, hey, you like Glock mags, right? They're everywhere. We're going to make one that fits the Glock mag. Well, you go on there. I just sent it to Cody. They are fully customizable. This is what blows my mind. For the price of what you're paying for it, a staccato costs more. And this is a custom gun. I'm talking fully custom. Trigger, the stippling, everything that you can think of. Their website is awesome because it doesn't lag. You can build it, and as you're building it, it shows you the live model of your gun. Not like, oh, it's gonna be this color, or it's gonna be like, no, it puts it out there. This is my favorite thing. I just ordered one. I'm putting the order in for one. The bad thing right now is their lead time is like 20, 24 weeks.
Yeah.
But you can do custom
worth it.
serial numbers. And my my custom serial number was S3ND dudes. Send dudes. Don't you mean send nudes? No, send dudes. I'm in a fight. Good. I need more.
That's good.
And so when I saw that, because like you punch stuff in, and then it's like, oh, that's not available. That's not available. So I did my birthday, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's lame though. Like I want something. And so whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, that's available. Submit. I'm getting this thing too. But so if my timing's right, I should get it around Christmas. But it's got the RMR cut out, so you can say what kind of optic you're running, and it'll basically
cut it out pre-cut. So
I mean, pre-cut.
You don't have to put a freaking base plate.
Because all the reviews that I've looked up online, everyone's talked about how great it is, the attention detail. They're like, they're not really talking down on staccato, but they're like, they're outdated. They need some competition, and they got it. And the price, fully custom gun, everything how I want it. How much would you think that? And I'm talking like a 3-pound trigger. You can get a I think it's 2.5-pound competition trigger, but they're like, don't get that unless you're actually gonna, because the triggers break in. Unless you're actually gonna go competition shooting and never carry it, they're like, that's too light of a trigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how much would you say that runs for?
I don't know. Like, I mean,
a staccato's $2,500.
If you didn't tell me all this stuff previously, I would say upper twos. So I don't know.
With all the extra stuff, which they charge you $100 extra to get the custom serial number. With all that, $2,050.
Yeah, that's not.
I mean, and that's custom Cerakoting. I did you can do it. The way that they thought this out is amazing, because you can do like stealth arms where it says it, where it's cut out on the slide. You can do stealth in one color, arms in another, serial number in another color.
Completely customizable. Whatever you want.
You name it, you can change it.
That's awesome.
And I was like, so I did black and white, like all black, and then white cutouts on the serrations, on the front serrations, and on the back serrations. It looks pretty dope, but my most exciting part of the entire gun, yes, it's nice that it takes Glock mags, and all the other things are great, and I've heard great things about it. Threaded bull barrel, just all the things that you look for in a competition gun. But to me, it's the send dudes.
Yeah,
I feel like that adds
some flavor, add some. It definitely adds some character to it. Now, have you ever shot competitions?
No. I almost got to, like, I was getting to the point where I was wanting to get into them. That's kind of that X5 that you saw. That was going to be my competition gun. And then between starting the business and going like a completely different route, I never got registered. And I know
it's easy
doing them and loving it.
Yeah, so I got into shooting comps. So now look, I'm not a good competition shooter. I'm not
either.
I do it for training because a lot of it translates over to work,
Run and gun.
Yeah. So I started doing it when I went to Bama. I started doing competitions and really started liking it. And as far as like weapons manipulations and shooting on the move and processing targets and stuff like that, you get a lot of that from shooting competitions. So one day, you know where Silver Creek is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff's place.
Yes. So you should definitely come and shoot one. The next one I think is June 20th. If you want to just come and watch, see how it is, dude, like, be happy to have you. Like, it's great. So I'm and it's a lot of good dudes. It's a lot of too. Like,
And fuds.
bleep that out. So you do have those kind of dudes that wear the jerseys and they have the 2011s that are custom as well. Not even Cicados. These are like, oh, I did this myself with my freaking, like, you've got some real nuts. They have like the amber glasses and they freaking, you know, they're
Vipers.
tools. They wear like I don't know, dude, that shorts. They always wear shorts, and you have those nerds. That are
I want to go just for fun, just to, like, I don't even want to care if I win or not. I just want to be in a setting.
It's a good thing you don't care because you won't. It's stiff competition.
I am not Jerry Mitchell.
Dude, there's some gangsters out there, but so like the competitions and stuff, you've got some of those guys, but most of those guys are really, really cool. Like, most of those dudes, like, shooting under nods and freaking paying to go to cool schools and stuff like that. Like I've made some of my best friends going to these competitions. Like, my buddy, he ended up, he got the job at SIG. That's what I was talking about. He's an engineer or whatever, got his degree at South. Super, super good. Like, he's a wizard with just all that kind of stuff. Very, very smart, like borderline autistic smart. But he's fucking good at shooting competitions. And they're like, they like all the same kind of shit we do. Like, most of those guys, you know, they're into just training. Like, they don't just shoot competitions. They'll do jiu-jitsu. They freaking, you know, they pay to go to, like.
So we're all on the same page here.
Yeah, do you do jiu-jitsu?
Haven't in a while, but that's what I started out with before the Marines. Mm-hmm. And then once I got back in town, did it for a little bit. I went with 10th Planet for.
Okay.
But yeah. Jiu-jitsu is my stuff. Guns is my stuff. You know. Yeah. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Dog and pony show.
Same. But most of those guys, they're like us. Like, they like long range shit. They like 2-gun shit. They like jiu-jitsu. They like camping. They like survival stuff. They like. I mean, they're balled into the same kind of shit that we like. And I started shooting these matches. I came to Silver Creek, and it's been the best range I've ever been to. Like, as far as
Jeff did a great job.
You have the autonomy to do whatever you want to do, as long as you're not being a dickhead and messing stuff up. Like, he doesn't bother you. You know, you can go and shoot. There's never hardly anybody out there.
You can shoot from the holster, and that is you gotta unholster. But you know what
you don't have some old FUD wearing a freaking fishing vest telling you how you're shooting too fast.
You can't be doing that, boy. You can't be popping.
Seriously, like, you go to CMP. Like, when I first started shooting competitions,
Gunport, we got one right down the road right here. You can't even step foot on there without watching a 45-minute video.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like when I was at Bama, we would shoot 2-gun competitions at CMP, which is a very nice facility. But you had Wiener Schnitzels there that were like super big nerds with, did he break the 180? Like, they're borderline pulling out a measuring tape, trying to fucking decide if they broke the 180. So, do you know about 180?
No.
So when you're shooting 2-gun, you've got a 180 degree line at any given time, and
that makes sense.
Silver Creek, it's a very, if you egregiously break 180 and you turn around and you're flagging people with guns, that's one thing. But if you're like 179.6, you're not going to have some nerd that's like, hold on real quick, guys.
Flag on the play.
Let's see if we've got, all right, this is actually 179.8. We're going to round up. That's 180. You're disqualified. We don't have that shit. It's big boy rules. And I know that's like I know a lot of people don't like to say, it's not big boy rules as unsafe. It's big boy rules as in, like, we're all fucking adults here. You know, if we see something that's egregious that's going to hurt somebody, we're pulling them. But if it's minor stuff that's like not, like, I'll put it like this. So some of the guys, you know, I was the one that kind of got them into shooting the matches. Like, I called one day, and I was like, hey, you know, or he called me. He was like, hey, what are you doing today? I was like, I'm going to get some 9mm because I'm going to shoot a match on this day. And he's like, oh, a match. Like, well, let me call my lieutenant, see if I can shoot that match and get paid by the city and see if I can use my work gun. I was like, you do that. He called and he called back and dude, their lieutenant is is awesome. Like
I heard he wants to be on the show. I don't know.
dude, he's a great guy. He was my one of my like he was the main instructor in SWAT school. I went to Mobile SWAT. That's where I met him, is Mobile SWAT school, and he's jam up. He's been to. You ever heard Darcy?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's yeah.
So I've been twice. I'm going again the third time. December. He's been to Darcy. Like he's not like you get a lot of cops that are like very. I'm not gonna say fuddish, but they're
Old school.
very old school, and they're not really up with the times, and they don't really understand. Like this is he keeps up with everything. Like he's thinking outside the box, and so when heard that they were doing a competition, he's like, you know what, this is a great training opportunity. Like I know that's not how we do business. Like when we do more deliberate stuff in houses and stuff like that, where the 2-gun stuff isn't the same, but there's a lot of stuff that transfers over. Emergency reloads and weapons handling, weapons manipulations, just shit like that. It all comes into play. Just shooting quickly. Like, you ever heard Frank Proctor?
No.
So Frank Proctor was a Green Beret. He runs Way of the Gun. It's up in Talladega, but he's a grandmaster competition shooter as well. And Frank Proctor said, "Hey, like I know a lot of you guys are cops. Like I went to one of his classes, a carbine class. He's like, I know a lot of you guys are like cops and stuff like that. But whether you're playing for points or you're playing for blood, shooting is still shooting, right? So, and that's something that kind of stuck with me.
That's a pretty good saying.
It is, because it's still shooting at the same time. It's different, I'm obviously, whenever we're clearing a structure, we're not doing John Wick running through to our deaths. But the shooting is all the same. Like I know a lot of people shit on like Lucas Botkin, but the dude can shoot.
Oh,
the shooting is there. He can shoot. So it doesn't hurt to have your SWAT guys branch out and shoot a match. It can only make them better.
It's like Mojo. I mean,
bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Just open up a can of worms
bro.
there.
Dude, yeah, he's awesome, man. He's 29 too. I thought he was like way older.
Yeah.
He's 29.
Yeah, and he's a Marine vet too.
Yep. Dude, I followed him back when he was like what is it? Lejeune. When he was at Camp Lejeune. I like that, like old school. Like when he first started getting on Instagram, I was like following him. But anyways, but yeah, so was like, yeah, tell you what, you can take your gun and everything, and we'll take some of the guys. So like, what's his name? I don't know if you know him. I don't really know. I mean, he was one of the instructors in my SWAT school, but I don't really know him as well. He's kind of quiet, but they all came up and shot a match. And dude, like, so the whole point of what I was saying is there were some things like one of the guys broke 180, but he did it. He was safe. The gun was pointed at the ground.
Yeah. So
technically he broke 180, but like, we're adults here. This dude's learning. It was one of those things where, okay, do we disqualify him or do we say, I just pull him over and say, hey, so like in competition shooting, like everything you did was safe. Like I can't shit on you at all.
Yeah.
But you'll have some nerds out here that's like, oh my God.
You're safe here, but you go to another.
He technically did, but he wasn't hurting anybody. He was just doing it's natural because that's how he normally does. But the dude's one of Mobile's. He's probably their best shooter that I've seen. Freaking really, really good. So nothing he did was unsafe, but it was just one of those things like, I let him know and he's like, okay, roger that. But, so now Mobile guys, they come out and they shoot competitions with us.
How much does it cost to get into competition
So it's gotten more, but it's pretty cheap training. So used to, man, it would be like $20, $40 to shoot a match. Now it's like $60, but it's $60.
I've got a Texas Star of my own. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm a competition shooter, but
they have some of that shit in there, dude. Yeah. They have that. They come up with some crazy stages, man. Like it's very challenging. The
I feel like
best
to me the hardest part would be keeping up with the
targets.
well, the
And what you
targets are
shot,
like,
and what you
yeah,
haven't shot.
what am I supposed to shoot? What's the
Mm-hmm.
course of fire? Because that to me, I went to it was a pretty cool indoor range in Seattle,
Uh-huh.
and they did like I remember on Tuesday, I think they called it Tactical Tuesday, but they did like they shut the range down after hours, or like let's say they close at 5. At 6, they opened it up, and if you wanted to run a course, excuse me, they would set up they'd have like pull 4 or 5 lanes, and I don't know if you ever watched any of Ready Gunner's videos of how
Yep.
their range
Yep.
is. It's very much the same thing, and they would put the plywood cutout, forgot the name of the board, you know
The
what I'm
VTAC
yeah,
board.
yeah,
Yep.
the
Yep.
VTAC boards, the barrels, they would do everything, and you do some offset shooting, some round, so all this stuff, and there's a video of me doing it, and I go through it all, but I like it wasn't even a long course of fire. It was maybe 5 steps, and I got some stuff out of order, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I need to like safety rules were never broken. It wasn't anything like that, but it was
Yeah.
just like you're supposed to shoot on the move.
Yeah.
I moved instead of shooting while sidestepping. I ran to where I was supposed to stop, and then I shot all my rounds off from there. So it's
Yeah.
just little stuff that I'm like, I'm so focused on one thing, and
Yeah.
I know it's just because I don't do it enough, and I want to
It
get
takes a
into that.
long time too, man. Like it takes a lot. Like I just started getting to the point in matches where I'm doing pretty good. Now I'm a great rifle shooter. I'm not a great pistol shooter, like at all. I say I'm good enough to get on the SWAT team. Like I can shoot my 290s and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. But like I'm not. That's my weakness. I've always like pretty much everybody. Like if you put some effort into it, like guys even don't put as much effort into shooting pistols. Shoot better than me at pistol. I don't know what the deal is, but the that was kind of some stuff that I dealt with at first. Like for the longest time, man, I was either so I didn't do stage planning at first, which stage planning is very important in shooting competitions. I would see all these dudes do it, like all my buddies that like up in Tuscaloosa that would shoot matches with me. They were like big stage planners, but they were competition shooters. They were not trying to get into law enforcement. They were not trying to do it from a practical standpoint. They were trying to do it from a I want to win standpoint. So stage planning is at the beginning of the stage. They go over the stage, and then you walk through the stage, and you go, you're like, okay, I'm gonna shoot this target, this target, this target. I'm gonna do a tack reload right here, blah 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 blah. And I never did that because I was like, you know what? I want to do it as on the cusp and natural as possible. So, like, if I run dry, I want to get a rep with emergency reloads. I don't want to do attack reload. I want to do emergency reloads because if I run dry in real life, I want to
yeah.
be able to do it efficiently. So, I didn't do any stage planning. I wanted to react. And so, for the first couple of years, that's kind of how I did it. And I didn't do super hot because I didn't do all that. And now I'm kind of into it. Like, okay, I I'm
I got my
confident.
training in.
Yeah, I'm confident. I can do all that stuff very well now. So now I do the stage planning, and I know not this last match, but the match before that, I think I shot 14th out of 72 or something like that. Best I've ever done. I was like, it was
Yeah.
bananas. I've never shot that good in my life. At a 72, or I think it was a lot of people there. But ended up shooting really well, and which is not normal, but that's because I put the time into the stage planning, all that stuff. And I'm not a big competition shooter. I shoot maybe 2 or 3 a year. Like I do just enough to round out a little bit, because I got so much other training I do. I got dog training. I'm always
Yeah.
doing canine stuff. I'm always doing. I go to jujitsu once or twice a week, sometimes less, depending on my work schedule. Um, I usually pay for a couple courses a year. Like I went to dude, I went to you ever heard of the SE school? You know SE Knives,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Randall's Adventure Training. So I went to their 72-hour survival school last year, which was fucking terrible.
Is it
By
like
the
SEER school?
fuck yeah, dude. It was so let me tell you, dude, I'm getting all over the place.
You got it.
So I signed up for this class. Like I do all this. Like I'm constantly spending money on classes. Like I try to go 2 or 3 a year, you know. And I like Darcy. I've been to Darcy.
Yeah.
I've been to two of their classes. I'm going again for the counterterror level 1 class in December. But I wanted to take some survival classes, and I've taken survival courses before, but I wanted something to like really test myself. And so Randall's Adventure, which it's a great place. Like when I say that it sucked balls, like I mean it sucked balls
because it did what it was supposed to.
Physically, dude. I've never been med dropped in my life from anything. I got med dropped on the last day.
Ooh.
On the last day,
so it works.
Oh, dude, yeah. So it was kind of I felt bad, but like it was a class where we had like 20 people and only 10 people finished, and everybody else quit voluntarily. So I'm not as upset, but it was rough, dude. Like, so we got there at 5 a.m. and like these dudes are serious dudes. Like a lot of these dudes are like Special Forces dudes and Rangers and freaking recon dudes. You know, you name whatever. And a lot of these dudes too, you know, they have a search and rescue team. Like they go all around the country and they do search and rescue. They're a big SAR team. So they have this class, and in the brochure, it's a 72-hour survival class for ESSE. And it's up in Gallant, Alabama. So like North Alabama, like right by Gadsden. And it said on the course, you know, it's like, hey, this is not a beginner's course. I'm like, well, I'm not a beginner. I'm not. Like, I've been freaking building fires and shelters and doing shit like that for my whole life. But I was like, I'm going to put myself to the test. Dude, I got there, man, you know, 5 a.m. in the morning, we were doing PT. We had these big fucking logs and shit, you know, like the big telephone poles, and they're making us carry them, and they're making us do like exercises with them back and forth. We're rolling around the mud. We had no sleep in 72 hours. No sleep. Complete sleep deprivation. No food. The only time we got food was when we won. We ended up, so the first day was just a suck fest. Like it was running, it was land nav in the woods, it was and it was thorns everywhere. We had to, while we're doing land nav, we're carrying, because SE school is a search and rescue based. You know, it's a survival school, but a lot of these guys, they're big into search and rescue. So
you got dead weight.
So we got a huge dummy in a, like the Coast Guard like casualty litters that are metal. We had one of those dummies in the casualty litter. We also had to carry around sandbags on our back, and we had to carry around eggs. And if we broke the eggs, we got punished. So,
like just regular eggs?
Regular eggs.
Oh, because we call them pig eggs whenever you take a sandbag and duct tape the shit out of it.
So I got sand pills. I have some at my house, which I've called them sand pills. But yeah, same deal. But this time, no, these were just sandbags, like black sandbags. But we had to carry eggs, like eggs you get at Winn-Dixie or Walmart or whatever, and we could not break them, because if we did, we got punished. So there was all this extra shit you had to do, and you had to do land nav, find these points through the woods, and it took us all throughout the night. And then we ended up finding all our points, and then the next day happened, like the cadre. So there was 2 different shifts of cadre. So the day shift cadre being, and then 6 o'clock would happen, and we get night shift cadre, and they were like fresh and ready because they've been sleeping all day, and you know. And so it stormed really bad that night, on the second day, and anyways, it was like tornado warnings and everything. And there's like this huge lake at the SE school. And so we had to do is we had to take shit and take like jugs, like gallon containers and jerry cans and shit like that, and rig them together and make a raft. Then we had to take a rappelling line, go across the lake, tie it off, and then we had to do a river crossing. Right? And so it's storming, dude. Like it's like Forrest Gump sideways rain, you know.
Upside down, right?
Like it's everywhere, Jenny. Dude, it was bad. So, you know, we're doing all that. It's cold too. This is like the beginning of March. Yeah. 2 years ago. So it's really, really cold, and we're having to build a fire in the freaking rain and can't do it. And dude, like we had a bunch of people tap right then, you know. So I made it through that night, and then the next day. In the morning, they were like, hey, look, we're going to let y'all, if y'all climb this rappel rope or whatever, like they have a huge like rappel tower. If you climb this rope, you'll get rewarded. So We ended up climbing the rope and everything.
Right.
So we're climbing the rope, and it's super freaking wet. The people that did not climb the rope, they had to sit their ass on the ground, like, you know, a dog, like you have those little tiny dogs. Yeah, they're rubbing their ass on the carpet, and so they made us do that and say we have worms and all that. So it was fun. But so we got rewarded though. They gave us two coconuts, a thing of broth. They gave us a lock box that was locked, and we had to figure out a way to get in it, and it had like chocolate and shit like that. And they gave us 30 minutes to dry out our body, build a fire, dry out our body and everything, take a little snooze if we needed to, whatever. And so we ended up doing that. And so one of the coconuts was rotten, and I ate part of that rotten coconut. And yeah. So
I didn't know they could rot.
it was sour. It was sour.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that
it
would
was
make
sour.
sense, yeah.
It was not good. So
Come find out.
yeah, believe me,
You did have worms.
Yeah. So well, that's not what got me though. What got me was the caffeine withdrawals. So I got a terrible migraine. I get bad migraines anyways,
Yeah.
and so I hadn't weaned myself off caffeine like these other scholars did. And I was like, oh, I'll be fine, you know. And they won't let you take caffeine pills. You can't have any kind of. They pat you down, like they do a pat down of everything. They search your pockets.
Prison wallet.
You got. That's the only way. That's the only way.
Dissolve real
So,
quick.
so yeah, dude. I ended up the next day. You know, we had to build a trebuchet, like a catapult, just for shits and giggles, because they wanted us to build something weird. So we did that, and then that final day, after we got done with that, it was kind of slowing down. Like all the hard stuff had been over with. Now it was like the teaching stuff. So we had like a little first aid class. We had this paramedic from like Emory Hospital in Atlanta, and he was coming to teach us like wilderness first aid. And dude, I was sitting there. I'd been drinking tons of water, you know, but I couldn't get rid of the headache. Could not. And I just passed out next to a tree and started puking up all that coconut. And so they gave me 2 IVs, and they said, "Hey, time to go home." But I got a free class for the next year.
Because I was about to say,
Yeah.
did they?
So they didn't charge, like,
Because you didn't tap.
I didn't tap. So, which it sucked because they gave you, so if you pass that school, it's the hardest school they got. And they mock it after SEER training. They basically, they're like, hey, look, we're trying to simulate you basically being in a plane crash or a car wreck or some like really, really bad situation. And the only way we can do that is to just mess you up for 3 days. Like, just constant evolutions. I mean, you know,
Tax your body.
yeah, like I haven't been to any kind of like specialized, you know, like BRC for y'all. Like I haven't been to anything like that, but like it's like a small version, like a 3-day version of just suck. So kind of, I guess, the same kind of things. Not exactly the same, but
Yeah, just something
a smaller
that'll
version.
wring your body out.
Yes. So it was basically like that. It was just constant evolutions, you know, mental games, just bullshit. And so yeah, so it was a medical withdrawal. They gave me the 2 IVs, and they said, hey, look, like it's our opinion that you should not continue. Which, you know, like I said, it sucked because you got a badass patch and you got a freaking $400 knife. So class basically paid for itself. You got a custom knife nobody else gets just for going to that class. But I got to go to the I went next year to a
you
tracking.
Get that patch and the knife even if you tap?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was kind of upset about that because I really wanted the knife. Like I've got a man cave like this too that I have all my Darcy certificates and pictures and all my my officer of the quarters and all, you know, shit like that. So I really wanted that knife, and I didn't get to have it, but I did get to go the next year, and I took a tracking class, which, you know, kind of transferred over to my canine stuff. Like, so we do. My dog is like he's a dual purpose dog. He does narcotics, he does tracking, he does apprehension. So like I figured the human tracking would kind of help with that. So I did a tracking class, and I did a basic survival class. Which I already knew all that stuff, but it was still good to just kind of go through it and do.
Never know too much.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it was stuff I already knew, but it was stuff that I could practice. And so I did that. Did that in March of this year. And then anyway, so yeah, it was good. I got, you know, my money's worth, and it was a fun time, but it sucked. Now the other course I was talking about, I brought up Darcy a couple times. So like what I want to do is go through their instructor program eventually. Like they have
Fun fact, by the way, I'm supposed to be doing some work for Darcy.
really.
Well, it's for MPD, technically for county. I don't really know who it'd fall under, but their breaching school that they're trying to bring here.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be helping build their range.
So, dude, Darcy, if you've never been, go. It's been the best schoolhouse I've ever been to. So I've always heard about them. Like I remember, probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Spirit just had like a little book, and they were talking about Darcy in it, and I was like, man, that'd be so cool. Like, of course, I'd never be able to go to that because that's for like all the
cool guys.
Yeah. And then one year I was sitting there on my couch. I was like, you know what? I saw that Darcy had posted a course schedule, and they said, hey, courses are open. I said, fuck it. I'm gonna put in and see if I can go, And I got an email back, and they're like, hey, yeah, it's $1,400 for class. It was a huge packing list. So I went to Tusk, which was their tactical urban sustainment course. It was very, very intense. A lot of force on force stuff. And, but I ended up going up there September of 3 years ago. And man, the instructors are great. It's a very first name basis. Like those instructors know who I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody from small town, rural Alabama. And
BFE Alabama.
But the fact that you're putting yourself through these courses, the fact that there's like a respect there that comes. Like these guys, the guys that run Darcy are Green Berets, and like one of my buddies,
guys.
Mike Glover, not Asian Mike Glover, like Fieldcraft Mike Glover, but there's white Mike Glover. He's a 75th Ranger Regiment dude, and he's an instructor up there. Really cool dude. He thinks like he doesn't treat me like I'm a podunk dingleberry cop. He treats me like equal. And this dude's like stacked bodies, man. Like he's the real deal. But that's how those guys are. Like the fact that you're putting yourself, you're spending $1,500, $1,400, whatever, plus ammunition, plus gas, plus food, plus hotel, plus packing list. It's astronomical. $2,500 more. At least. I mean, dude, you got to have night vision to go up there. Like I say, you got to have it. You don't have to have night vision, but it's highly encouraged. It's highly encouraged. Well, out of the 32 in the first class I went to, out of 32 people, we had one person that had night vision. Didn't have nods. We had guys with thermals. We had guys with drones. We had and everything goes. So the class I went to, Tusk is and I won't go super into detail because like a lot of it is they want you to be
surprised.
Yes. But the general overview of Tusk is you've got a grid down scenario. So it could be economic collapse. It could be a Hurricane Katrina type event. It could be EMP, what you name it. And so things have gotten bad. Rule of law is not how it was. Your fire, your EMS, your police are not currently helping you. You may not have water, and most people, what they'll do in situations like that is they'll fill their toilet up to the brim, and they'll start pissing outside, and it'll get in the drinking water, and people can start dying of dysentery and freaking typhus and, you name bad Civil War era disease. Mm-hmm. And the gunfights is not even what's killing people. It's the starvation, it's the bad drinking water and stuff like that. So, the point of the class is to illustrate to people kind of like how bad it actually can get. And this is only like 3 days. So can you imagine, weeks like this?
Yeah.
And so essentially they're trying to like there was a few different squads of guys, and each squad had it's a lot of infantry based stuff. So you have a team leader, you have a assistant or squad leader, assistant squad leader. You got a few different guys, and they go over like basic IMTs, like I guess that's the word, infantry movement techniques. You're up, he sees me, I'm down.
Yeah.
They do that, low crawls, all that. They do basic like patrolling, um, you know, um,
Yeah,
the wedge and the freaking staggered column and the file and just basic shit, basic shit. And there's an Op 4 out there that's hunting you. And so, but these guys are supposed to be like your neighborhood, right? So at Darcy, you've got 32 dudes that are all kind of in the same kind of shit you are, that all have night vision and suppressed guns and, all kinds of stuff. But it's to simulate your neighborhood. This is your neighbor, Jimmy. And, so there's the main thing they were emphasizing was water. So we had to purify water. We had to pull security. We had to patrol our area to make sure that we didn't have Op 4 hunting us. And Op 4, they were the good guys in their story. They had their own objectives and stuff like that. And they were, which I ended up Op 4ing the next class, which I can't talk about that really at all. But the first class, you're in your neighborhood and you're trying to secure your neighborhood. You're trying to, purify water. You're trying to survive this bad situation. And it's 3 days. Yeah, 3 days, maybe 4. I can't remember, but it's no nice, like no good food. You're purifying water out of a swamp. You're staying up all night. You're getting ambushed at all times of the night, and
like sim rounds, or
no, because
or is it like
so
tag you're at?
It's no, it's not sim rounds because it was sims. Now, like for inside stuff, they do sim rounds because it works for that, But sim rounds start losing their ass after about 25 yards, like rifle sim rounds. So, they start going all over the place. And it's not, at that point, we're just freaking, it's a waste. So it's blanks. It's blanks, but it's different kind of blanks. So Op 4 has BFAs, and they have really, really loud blanks so they can distinguish who's shooting who. But no, it's just like the instructors are kind of like, there might be times where the instructor's like, okay, you're dead, whatever. But it's just blanks. That's pretty much it. Blanks, hour lasers, shit like that. But it was a great school. We had some really, really great instructors. We had one guy, his name's Marine Corps dude, like Marine Corps officer, and he works out there. He's really great. He's like kind of like a dad type almost. Like and the cool thing about Darcy is I went that one time, and then I came the next year. And all these instructors, like you go to a lot of schools, and these instructors, you hey guys, buy our book and this, that, and the other, and this is why this is the best way. And then they, if you go back, they don't really remember you or whatever. But when I went with Darcy the next year, all those same instructors I hadn't seen these dudes in a year. They follow me on Instagram and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it. But like they, come up to me and shake my hand. Hey man, how's everything going? How's your dog? How's work been? I'm glad to see. Dude, they're not bullshitting you. It's not that fake. Like they really care. They really care about your development. If you're squared away, when you go up there, if you're a solid,
you're a
dude,
bag of ass. They're like, they don't. This guy's back.
Wrote you off. But the good thing about Darcy is people that are spending that kind of money to go up there usually aren't.
Yeah, you kind of
usually are. It's a self-vetting process because I've tried to get a bunch of my buddies to go. How many of them are actually going to go? Not many. Not many are going to pay out of pocket to go.
Yeah.
I've had one that's been like, okay. But this year I'm actually kind of pumped. So I'm going to the law enforcement counterterrorism course, this is strictly like the first 2 courses I went to were open enrollment. So it was civilians and law enforcement military. Like in my class, the first year we had a SWIC boat dude. We had a couple recon dudes. We had some 82nd Airborne dudes. We had a couple 10th Mountain guys. We had some Green Berets. We had some Rangers. We had a Tennessee State Trooper SWAT guy. I was the only municipal city kitty canine handler. We had a heart surgeon. We had all kinds of had a couple paramedics, had all kinds of like just squared away dudes from all different backgrounds, right? Most of them were military though. And those guys were the assigned team leaders and assistant team leaders. Like my team leader was, you follow Geo Operator on Instagram? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think
So
so.
he's one of these Instagram celebs kind of deal. He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. But he was an infantry dude in the army. And then my assistant team leader or assistant squad, I don't know the military terms, but the second guy, number 2 guy, he was an 82nd Airborne guy, and now he's a Cav guy, but he's an officer, and he was stationed in Fort Hood, and now I don't know where he's at now, but he actually was in both of my class. He was in my first class and my second class. So me and him we're Darcy buddies and all that. So
Yep.
it's pretty cool. But so he got guys with military experience to be the head honchos. So it was a good experience. We had some really, really good leadership. Like the guy I was talking about, he actually did that as his job interview. He came to Tusk and was the squad leader for his job interview to see how he did. And now he teaches the designated marksman Tusk. So, but that's the Range Regiment dude. He's awesome. But yeah, so this course I'm going to though in December, this is the law enforcement only version, and it's 2,500 rounds of sims, which my PD paid for, which I'm super pumped about. I just got to pay for the class, which works for me. It's nods, gas mask, pretty much the whole time. It's like 5 days. And
do you have nods or is okay?
Yeah, I have nods. We're actually getting nods.
I was gonna say, are they through the
say,
PD or
no? I bought mine.
What do you run?
I run US Night Vision PVS 14s, White Foss.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nothing crazy.
Oh yeah,
but it works. I've got that, and I got a app TLC, so okay. the L3 civilian PEC, essentially. Yeah. A lot to be desired. I should have got a D-ball, but
the 31s are still high on my list.
Yeah. I want some.
As everyone else.
I do. I got a buddy that's actually going through. So funny enough, the class I went to June 6th, that pistol course in Hope, Florida, I went to that, and like he's gonna be mad at me because he invited me. He's graduating from Green Beret school or whatever up in Bragg, and so he tried to sell me. So he calls them Jerry 21s or Jerry. That's just I don't know what they are. They're White Foss. They're freaking dual tubes. But Jerry's like slang. I don't know if he means German or if he means like Jerry rigged. I don't know what he's talking about.
Could be Jerry rigged. I don't know.
But he's selling those, and he was wanting me to buy them, and I was like, man, like
how much you want for them?
I'll have to look at my text messages. I don't remember, but it was more than I could afford. It was more than I could afford. And the single tube works fine for what I'm doing. I would like some duals, but I use my single tubes all the time. Like at work, I keep them in my car, and shit, we had a stolen vehicle come out a few weeks ago, and I had my trainee with me, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like we were about to go home, and I was working over on another shift. And this old meth head stole this truck, and it was a company truck, so it had a GPS locator in it. And the guy heard the truck leaving, so he was like, "Hey, this guy's stealing my truck. I've got a GPS coordinate. I'm tracking it." And he was giving us like play by play of where the car was going. So we ended up like an 8 mile area, like Pritchard 8 Mile, and so I had my trainee. He was driving, and I ended up telling him, I was like, hey, look, blackouts. We blacked out, because like in the county, you always had to black out. Yeah. Like if you're trying to sneak up on anybody, like these dudes would freaking kill you. So blackout. So that's what we did. Blacked out. And we were in this like field. And there was like a little shitty house on the field. And he was unloading all the stolen shit in his girlfriend's car from that work truck. And so we hit our lights on. I got out of the car. My trainee ended up moving up. And it's my fault. I should have told him like, hey, I'm going to hit the door popper on this dude, and we're going to get a dog bite. But he didn't end up, I didn't tell him that because I was kind of excited. My fault.
You got ahead of yourself.
And so he got ahead of me. So when I hit the door popper, the dog redirected at him, and I had to recall my dog back. And but anyway, so the guy took off. We set a perimeter, Mobile County and Sims PD, and they had a perimeter set up, and we were tracking this dude through the woods. And I had my night vision on, and all these other dingleberries on my shift. I mean, not really dingleberries; they're good dudes, but you know they don't have
flex a little bit.
They don't have the capability, so they got white light, and they're just shining their white light all. I'm like, guys, like stop shining your white light, like shine it for a second, turn it off.
Yeah,
you know they don't teach like light discipline and stuff like. So I was like telling these guys like, hey, look, you know, like I understand y'all can't see, but like turn your light on, turn it off, turn your light, you know, because you're giving away our position. I'm not really worried about the guy running away. If he runs away, it's fine. Whatever. We'll get him another day. I don't want this guy to be shooting us
and have targets.
Exactly. He's gonna do what everybody else does and shoot at a light. You know, so turn your light on, turn it off. So, but anyways, so I use my 14s at work all the time. Like, it's cool to have. The PD, they
the white phosphor is a game changer.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. The
green tubes is
greens are fine, but like
it's better
white
than nothing,
white is it. But anyways, we ended up catching him. It was a successful track. My dog didn't get a bite, so it still counts as apprehension without a bite, but we ended up running him into the perimeter and ended up, you know, snagging him. Yeah, sure did. So, turned out good. But, like I was saying though, you know, going back to that course, so a couple of my buddies are actually coming with me. I've got a buddy, he's paying his way to go. He's actually on SRT, just made the team, and really, really good squared away cop. And so they got SRT and SWAT. SWAT's like their main guys. SRT's like the JV team, but you have to be on SRT before you go to SWAT. So he's doing his time there.
Step and step.
But he's paying his own way to go to Darcy. And then my buddy is on the county SWAT team here. I don't know if you know Big Jack dude.
No, I was about to say, I know on county, but he's not that.
Yeah, just like jacked. Like this dude freaking jacked. And so he's a SWAT guy. He just got a dog too, so he's got a dual purpose dog.
You have Belgians or?
I have a Belgian. Okay. Yeah, I have a Malinois named. Nice. So he's nuts. Like when I first got him, I couldn't get in the kennel with him. I've been eaten up by this dude, but he's a lot better now. He's probably our best dog. Freaking just great with dope, great with tracking, great with bite work. In the city I work at, like it's a pretty, like I said, it's a pretty good city. So like we haven't got any bites. I have not got any bites.
Do what he's trained to do.
Yeah, it's not good as far as trying to get bite work done, but he's found a ton of dope. A ton of dope. He's a great dog. And I'm the second handler that's had him. So, you know, he's a little crazy. Like most of our dogs are more civilized. He's not. Like he freaking shits in his kennel and wallers around in it, so he's always stinking. Like, he's nuts. He's psychotic.
Clean me.
But it's kind of cool. He's from Poland too. Most of the dogs that we get are from like the Netherlands and Belgium and Germany. But
imports. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, all the police dogs around here, like freaking I don't know where he's from. He's from overseas, but he was a Green Beret. He was SF washout dog. Like he was a great dog. He just didn't meet their standards. So
you're not good enough, boy. You get to go to this podunk.
He's still a great dog.
Oh, I know.
I mean, he's still a great freaking dog, you know. But yeah, all of our dogs pretty much like at good agencies. Like we have a really good canine unit where I'm at. All of our dogs come from overseas.
I feel like ours is probably from a puppy mill with my PD.
y'all's dogs come to try to certify at our place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good dude, but you know,
I don't know him, but I've seen his dog.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I think they were like, hey, we should have a dog.
A lot of these small agencies like that's what they try to do. They're like, they don't really understand the ins and outs of like getting into dogs, and they don't really have a legit trainer, and they don't really they don't invest in sending their guys to a good handler school, and they don't buy good dogs. They're like, oh, this is a Belgian. It's a Belgian. Dude, they're not all the same. Like my Belgian comes from Poland. our other Belgians, we got one from Netherlands, we've got one from Czechoslovakia, we've got like our dogs come from overseas, and these dogs, overseas dogs are different than dogs in the United States. Like dogs, we can't do the stuff that they can do over there. They have like dog farms like we have chicken farms, and they take it's not nice, but they take a litter of dogs, and they have 6 of them that have the traits they want, and they have the other 6 that don't, and the other 6 they drowned, and the 6 that are good. The 6 that are good, they're bred to be police dogs, and even out of those 6, not all of them make it. So by the time, so by the time that you get those 6, and I'm just throwing a number out, but by the time you get those 6 that end up being good, they go to police departments, and then they're green when we get them. But by the time, I mean, we've gotten dogs that we pay $10,000-$15,000 for that don't amount to what we want. They're expensive. Yeah, they're expensive. Like we had a dog that was a dual-purpose dog. We bought it as a dual-purpose dog. It's got great drive. Won't bite anybody. Right? So the dog, it's a single-purpose dog now. He just does narcotics.
Well, he's got a good nose.
He's got a good nose. He won't bite. Teeth. He's got teeth. He just won't bite. He's timid. It's like my dog. If he's biting you, you could be stabbing him. That dog's not gonna let go of you until he's bled out. Like, I mean, it's just
lockjaw. Yeah, that's just.
I mean,
programming is set in.
Dude, that dog's a killer, and he's not big. He's not a big dog. He's just.
I don't know if you saw my dog when my dog's about.
I did
70 pounds.
Little cute. What is your dog?
So, he's a mutt, but he's definitely. I want to say blackmouth cur / so the mama I'm pretty sure was a blackmouth cur lab mix because I saw
he looked like he had something in him,
but I don't know if the daddy had Belgian or German or something in him, but he's got that look. But he's great, not a biter. He'll bark sometimes at people, but he says hi. Amazon's all the time like, secure your pet, please. I was like, he'll lick you to death. He's fine.
See, my dog, I can't. It's sad because like now, but before I got him, like they were saying, hey, what are you gonna do with this dog whenever he retires? Like you're gonna shoot him because I can't have him in here. He'd fuck one of y'all up. I can't just have him run around. And so he stays in his kennel unless I use him for work. Sometimes now I've given him since I've had him. They tell you not to do this. They tell you not to like give your dog a whole bunch of love and affection and all this that and other. And I'd say for the most part it's correct. For the most part, if you got a dog that's not like got a whole bunch of drive, like you don't have a really really high drive crazy dog, you probably don't want to be petting on them and treat them like house pet because lazy. Why would they work if they can get it for free? But with my dog, dude, he's got so much drive. So, like, there's a triangle of drives. Like, imagine this, okay? And you've got 3 different drives. I mean, there's multiple drives, but, like, to oversimplify it, you've got prey drive. Prey drive is their drive to, like, if I throw a ball off the Dolly Parton Bridge, that dog is jumping to his death every single time. He's not thinking about it. He's jumping off the bridge. Then you've got your pack drive. Your pack drive is how well he responds in a pack or to me. Like, so if your dog was in a wild pack, how well is he going to respond to the alpha, whatever. So you got your pack drive. And then you've got your civil defensive drive, which is their drive to aggression. So when you see your dog's hair stand up on the back of their neck, you see your dog, his tail tuck in, that's your civil defensive drive. Like, that's their drive. Like, he's about to fuck you up. You know, he's about to really tear you up. So Frankie had a really, really high prey drive, like insane prey drive, more than any of our other dogs. And he had a really, really high civil defensive drive, but not a whole lot of pack drive. Well, anytime you can take away from certain drives and add to other ones, you don't know where it's going. You don't know if you take away from prey drive, you don't know if it's going to civil defense. You don't know if it's going to pack. It's going somewhere though. But Frankie had so much prey drive and civil defense drive that even if I did take some of it away, it would be like a big mansion and chipping away at a brick. You're not going to drop the whole foundation, you know? So I started giving him love because he's never had it before. I gave him a little bit of love and affection. I would give him treats.
It's gay, Dad. Stop.
I would give him treats just for being a dog. Sometimes I would let him, like after shift, I'd let him go out in the yard and fuck off. Throw him his pipe. for no reason. His pipe, so that's what we pay him with. We pay him with a white PVC pipe. If he finds narcotics, that's what he gets it for. But I would just throw it out there and let him play with it, you know? And I don't, he doesn't get it often, but a couple nights a week, you know? And I started seeing the dog become more of that perfect triangle where now you can get people up near him. He's not as freaking aggressive and crazy. He still is more than I want he's still more aggressive than any other dog that I've really been around. But now he's more, you can do this kind of stuff. And I went to a couple classes, you know, and I started using e-collar a little bit more with him. I started putting a muzzle on him and letting people get near him. Because muzzle used to mean vet or muzzle fighting. So muzzle fighting is where you put the muzzle on them and they basically are just popping person. So they're not biting them, they're popping them. That's pretty much what they're doing. So muzzle meant fight. So I started putting muzzle on them all the time. So muzzle didn't mean fight anymore. It meant muzzle. It just meant, hey, it could be anything. It could be the vet. It could be muzzle fighting. It could be somebody's going to pet you. I'm just putting muzzle on you for shits and giggles. So I started seeing the dog kind of round out more. So now my dog was a dog nobody wanted not because he was a bad dog. He was a great dog. As far as his job went, he was just so hard to control. Yeah. He was so hard to control because he'd fuck you up. Like, I mean, he bit me numerous times. Like, I mean, he's drawn blood on me a bit. And when I first got him, man, I went through handler school. I was like, dude, I don't know if I want this freaking dog. Like, this dog, he barks in the car the whole day. I mean, now he doesn't bark in the car. You know, now he's like, you know, I mean, I still wouldn't trust him in a playground, but like, he's good.
But your house is safe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, they make that mistake, which he doesn't live in the house. He lives in a kennel out back, but
yeah.
If he's ever out in the backyard and they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, they're done ass. But yeah, man, he's great. You know, shit. I didn't get to use him the other day, but we got a substantial amount of cash on interstate the other day, 200 plus K, off of
That's a good down payment for a house,
dude. So my one of our admins stopped this car. He's an interdiction guy. He stopped this car. He's really good at like catching smugglers, and so he called for a back end unit. So I came out there, and we didn't end up running the dog because he gave us consent. And I get on the back of the truck, and there's a big Magellan cooler, and I open up the Magellan cooler, and anyways, I see that like at first I try to pick the cooler up a little bit, and I was like, man, this thing's fucking heavy. You know, this is a heavy cooler. And so I ended up opening the cap, and I saw water was pouring out. So I was like, okay, well, there's probably not a hidden compartment in here or anything. You know, not that I've seen a hidden compartment in a cooler, but I've seen crazy shit. So, you never know. So I open the cooler up, and I see there's a bunch of like Dr. Peppers and Cokes and all that. It's ice cold. And all I do is move over these Cokes, just like and I see Ben Franklin, and I look at the guy, and the guy looks at me, and he does. And I told my trainee, I said, cuff him up.
Yeah.
So cuffed him up, and
I don't even know, bro. That's just Dr. Pepper.
It was 200 something K, dude. Upwards of 200K. It's the biggest seizure we've had in like years. And but dude, we thought he was a narco smuggler because like usually when we're getting like if we do get money loads like that, we'll get like 1 or 2 a year, and they're not that high. They're like 70,000, 80,000, 60,000, whatever.
Yeah.
So this was a really big one, and but usually they're narco guys. Like they're going from Texas, they're going up North Carolina, they're freaking dropping off dope, and they're coming back.
Yeah, with cash. Yeah.
Yep. Dude, so we call Homeland in. Like Homeland comes and they start talking to the guy or whatever. And anyways, this guy's like talking about how I don't know anything about drugs. I'm a part of a chicken fighting ring, you know? And dude, when we get done, they're like, you won't believe it, but this guy's actually like telling the truth. He's not a narco smuggler. He's a part of a chicken fighting ring.
Still illegal.
Still legal. So we're good, but it was just like
that's just
bananas. Absolute bananas.
That's probably why he looked at you and went, oh.
Yeah, but that felt good. I thought that was fun. So I didn't get to run the dog, but it's probably a good thing I didn't get to run the dog, you know, because like the guy gave consent for ran the dog didn't hit. I'm kind of like, what are we doing? Searching.
Yeah.
I don't know. It worked out good though. So, but that was cool.
That's
So,
funny though. Yeah, I remember because I don't think I mentioned this. I went to school for whenever I did try college. I got an associate's degree in
mm-hmm.
criminal justice. So I
It's a good
learned,
degree to have. It's
yeah.
very valuable in life.
But I went, whenever I did that, um, that's where I did the taser and the
Mm-hmm.
pepper spray, all that stuff was, and like I said, it's an associate's degree. I went to college because
Mm-hmm.
my parents wanted me to. We're immigrants, so like my parents, they were like, we came here for you to have all these opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I did it because financial aid was covering it and it was
Mm-hmm.
free, but I was like, I'm not about to get in debt just to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
and tried that. Still ended up joining the Marines because I was
Yeah.
gonna go right out of high school,
Yeah.
and I waited and I went to college for 2 years, and then I was like, nah, cause still ain't it. So that's I went in Marines, but um, that was, I remember we had all our classes on gangs, and they're like, you would think, oh, this area doesn't have that many gangs, yeah, but it do.
Mm-hmm.
And you start paying attention to tagging and to different tattoos. Like I remember learning about the tattoos, the tagging, the
Mm-hmm.
everything, how to spot like a seemingly, you think your dope pushers are either in, the over the top big rims and all that,
Mm-hmm.
or
Normal cars.
yeah, or they're like, nope, it's a lot of times it's a rental,
Rental car. Yep.
a rental car, fast food trash in the car
Mm-hmm.
is there. It's, because they ain't leaving that dope money. Because
Yep.
it's either their head or that money.
Yep. They maybe not. They may be going up one place. License plate reader picks them up, heading there. A 1 day short trip.
Yep.
May have a suitcase with like one pair of underwear and shirts in
Mm-hmm.
it or whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
There's,
different
yeah,
things.
there's a lot of stuff that they, and it was just cool because it's stuff that when you stop for a split second and think about it, I'm like, oh, yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so just right over
Yep.
your head
Right
if
over
you
your
don't,
head.
if you don't really think about it. I mean, I-10 seems like, I mean, especially in Alabama, you don't have a whole lot of I-10.
Mm-mm.
That is one of our most dangerous roads
Yep.
in Alabama, and it's
Yep.
only what, 60 miles maybe?
Yeah, it's not much.
And that's, I mean, that's both counties that it
Yep.
goes through.
Ballin and Mobile.
But
Yeah.
that is where all the drugs go east, money goes west.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Oh, dude, there's so much on the interstate, which I'm not like a big interstate dude. Like,
yeah.
I probably, if I wanted to go on the interstate, I probably could say, hey, can I go on the interstate? Because I've actually, the last two dope cases I made have been on the interstate. I got a guy the other day, a bunch of marijuana. Got marijuana, some THC wax, THC pen. So he got a possession control, drug paraphernalia, marijuana charge, and another charge, municipal charge. But so I could probably do it if I wanted to, but like, dude, it sucks just sitting there and watching traffic all day and just doing this, looking for reactions on people, just going
Yep.
back and forth, back and forth. Like I get dizzy doing it.
Yeah, you're
But
trying to watch that one guy that's nervous, and then you got to find PC,
yeah,
and
and
then
then and where we're at, it's a small. We've got 3 miles of
yeah,
interstate, so like I've
yeah,
got to find shit quick. And so that's kind
it's
of
not
tough. And
worth
then
it.
like today, I sat on the interstate a little bit, and dude, there was like I don't know, man. It was like either it was flooded with cars or there wasn't but one car. Like you would, so you can't really pull out. You'd see a good car and there's 6 cars in front of them, 6 cars behind them. And I knew, like, I'm like, okay, I don't have enough time to catch up with this dude,
Mm-hmm.
get PC, stop him. By that time I stop him, I'll be in Mobile or
Yeah, you've
somewhere
been
else.
Pritchard
Yeah.
at best.
Yeah. So, but I like the street level stuff. I really, if I could, man, I just do SWAT stuff all day. Like I'm kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at the street level stuff, but like I don't,
Yeah,
you
get
know,
called in as with the
I
dog
do it
and
because that's what I have. I mean, we're a part time SWAT team, so street level stuff is like what we do, and that's how I get to do the cool stuff I get to do. That's why they're helping me out with
Darcy
Darcy is
and yeah.
because I perform as far as that stuff goes. But if I could, I would do what like does all
Yeah.
day and just do kicking doors and that'd
Search warrant.
yeah, it'd be wonderful.
Another search warrant.
But different municipalities, different agencies have different ways, and our agency just isn't as busy as Mobile is, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's good because they pretty much give me whatever I want. Like as far as they've treated me really good, and I get to go to schools I want to. They made me an SSGT instructor, which SSGT is kind of gay. It's the combatives, law enforcement combatives.
Mm-hmm.
It's like jiu-jitsu based, but it's not, and it's like being an instructor takes 2 weeks to get. And dude, I'm a white belt. I get beat up by 16-year-olds and old men and sometimes women. And which the only time I've been beat up by a woman, she was a purple belt, and she wasn't even strong, but she was like
Smart.
She just tripped me up and then got my back and choked me. So
hey, if you're into that, I mean, I ain't judging.
Oh, dude, yeah, she whooped me. But the SSGT is like law enforcement combatives, and it doesn't take much to, for jiu-jitsu, it takes you like 13 years to be a black belt, but SSGT, you can be an instructor in 2 weeks,
That's like McMap with Marine Corps. You can go to an instructor course and get it in 2 weeks, and you're like, granted, they've got different levels. You can be a green belt with the red tab, which is you can be an instructor up to green belt. But then there's brown, and then there's black. When you're black belt with like double, triple red tab, you've got your ass kicked, and you've kicked some other asses too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different levels to it, but it's one of those things. Like I remember, I was in, I started going to 10th Planet, and I did that for a while because, I loved doing it. Kept me in shape, kept me flexible, and then I remember going to boot camp, and then I came back, so I was gone for a good little while. And when I came back, there was one guy there, and he called me out. He's like, "Come on, let's roll." I was like, "All right," And then we're going, and he was one of the ones that was like super aggressive all the time. Like he's kind of, I don't know what his agenda was, but it was always like he had to prove something almost.
Yeah.
And he was pretty good. He was a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. Like he was cocky, I guess you could say. And he come in. I mean, he was quick, snatched me up, kind of threw me all over the place. And he's like, "Come on, soldier boy, what you got?" Huh? Like kind of mocking me. I was like, if you're one of those people that thinks that just because someone joins the military that they're automatically this genius in fighting, I was like, you're dumber than a bag of rocks. I was like,
it doesn't work that way.
That shows your ignorance, because military does not mean that you're going to be like, I know more about fighting for putting myself through civilian level stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. You can learn some stuff in the military, but you ain't getting it after 13 weeks in boot camp.
Nope.
If anything, honestly, the best thing that I learned from McMap in boot camp was how to fall. Like the proper way to fall to where you're not going to knock yourself out. But they're like, they teach you your basic, you throw a punch. Or like, it's not what you think it is. And if you somehow think that 13 weeks and Marine Corps has the longest boot camp anyway.
Yeah.
But if you think that in 13 weeks, someone is going to have the time to learn everything they need to learn about being a basic Marine, learn all the history that they learn all the uniform codes, all the laws that pertain to military, all the things that they got to do, and still have all the time in the world. You put someone into jiu-jitsu, nothing but jiu-jitsu for 13 weeks, they're going to be all right. But they still ain't going to be much past the...
Yeah.
So...
I've been doing it for almost 2 years, and I still get demolished.
I like doing it because I will say, basic level jiu-jitsu is better than nothing. But just because you got it... I saw a meme about this, and we're like, how people... how different people want to have a street fight.
Yeah.
And, you got people like rolling up sleeves and, taking off shirt. And it's like how jiu-jitsu guys start. And they just sit down. They're like, all right, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And I'm like, I felt attacked because after, I don't know, 4 months in jiu-jitsu, I I went with my cousin, like he's maybe 3 years older than me, and we would always wrestle, and he'd always pin me and get me.
Yeah.
And I was like, few months in jiu-jitsu, I got him, and I got him quick. He goes,
Yeah.
all right. He's like, because
Oh,
it was one of those
cheat
like,
code.
oh, what's the, he's like, let's see what this jiu-jitsu stuff is, oh, like, are you wasting your time? Kind of in a way mocking me, but also curious. And so I laid out the bait and he took it. It was just as simple as something that you learn like in the first few months. Also, I will
Mhm.
say the coach that I had, I showed him the gym had just opened,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Hey, we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday." And he's like, "But if you want to come train, let me know." So I showed up on Tuesday when no one was there, and I trained like one on one. He kind of brought me up to speed a lot, and for probably the first 4 months, anytime that I wasn't at work or doing anything, I was there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I brought up that example. You put someone in jujitsu for 3 months straight, all day, every day, that's still only going to get them so far.
Yeah.
And, but he was a good coach. He was pretty upset whenever I stopped showing up. He was like, come on, dude. He's like, I had a lot of the flexibility that a lot of other guys didn't. He's like, you're built for jujitsu. He's like, don't be afraid of it. Because at one point I was starting to feel injuries and I felt like joints doing things that they hadn't before.
Yeah.
And I was kind of getting nervous. Plus, joining the military, going away, and it's
Yeah.
just priorities, I guess, changed. But it was fun to get to roll with, my big cousin who always just would hem me up because he was taller than me. I mean, he's like 6'1".
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Big
was a
guy.
little bigger. Yeah. And he would always, and just getting him in them leg locks and locking him up. And it was
Yeah.
like, yes. And obviously, like, externally, I'm like, all right, yeah, see, it works. Like, this is why I like it. But inside, I was like, I got your ass.
That's right.
I'm like a bicycle with no seat. I'm in that ass.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you.
You ought to get back into it, man.
I really want, so it's funny. My wife brought up to me the other day, because my son's about to be 1, and she's wanting to put him in gymnastics because she was like, if he's anything like you, I never did anything like that as a kid. She's like, but seeing like your natural ability of your body to do some stuff that she's like, she did gymnastics and she's seen, she's like, some people are just built for it.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see if how he doing that, and then as he gets a little older, just to kind of, that helps with his mobility and stuff. And as he gets older, I want to, Mallory was like, maybe you can be his like, there's all the dads out there that are the coach
T-ball
dad,
coach, yeah.
t-ball coach or the football, whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, you'll be the jiu-jitsu dad. And I was like, that, whenever she said that, I was like, dang, I really need to get back into it.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's a good thing, as far as, I don't know, like, a lot of these skills, with kids and stuff, like you teach them, they get to play baseball and then play football or whatever. And for the vast majority of kids, they do that till they graduate high school. And then they have to get a job and they work. And then it's, they learn some team stuff with guys.
but you can learn team stuff in
Anything else. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is with jiu-jitsu is that's something they'll have in their pocket forever. So you get a kid, like we got some kids at our gym, like physically, like, yeah, they're small. They're like really, really tiny, but like they go 3 times a day because they're homeschooled or whatever. And their like skill level is better than mine. And if they continue doing this, when they're 25, 26, they're not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. When they're 16, they wouldn't be trifled. Dude, I've gotten whipped. We got a dude at our gym that his name's and he's like, I think he's 17 now, and he whips my ass religiously. He just got his blue belt. Yeah, which he should have been a blue belt. So skill level wise, he should have been a blue belt a long time ago, but he's kind of like, he wants to be a fighter. Like that's what he wants to do. He wants to do all that stuff. Like he does Muay Thai as well. We have Muay Thai in our gym
Mm.
as well.
That's
So
what I did before I did jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu
yeah.
is my.
So he wants to just be a fighter. Like he wants to do the whole all it. So he does all these tournaments. He trains 3 times a day because he's homeschooled. And man, so the way belts work in jiu-jitsu, you know, it's not really like even kill. It's like what the instructor thinks. And if a guy's got more potential, it may take him longer to get a belt. So like if you got an old guy that's like 60, he may get a blue belt faster than a guy that's 16 that wants to do this for his life. So they really like held off on giving him his belt. So he stayed a 4-stripe white belt forever. Like I mean, dude was skill level, definitely skill level of a blue belt. I mean,
Mhm.
just demolishing people. But they held off and they finally gave it to him. Finally gave it to him because it has more to do with the skill. It has a lot to do with your maturity level. It has a
Mhm.
lot to do with a lot of different stuff. But man, he wrecks my world. Like beats the shit out of me, and there's nothing I can do. I don't have answers. He's not big. He's not very strong. He's tall. He's very tall, but he's that's about it. Like he's just a tall, wiry little kid, and he chokes me out. He freaking chokes me standing up, chokes me sitting down. I just can't really do anything. I can't get around him. I mean, but the thing is, like, he'll have that forever. So, no, he doesn't play football or baseball in school. So what? He's going to graduate anyways, and he's never going to play it again.
Mhm.
He's going to be washed up. Like, I mean, I played ball in school and all that. Like, what has it done for me?
Yeah.
Not much.
That's kind of like I never played in school, and I saw that the guys that don't get me wrong, I wanted to play,
Yeah, nothing
and,
wrong with
and
it,
not
but
but I look at the guys that did play, and most of them didn't do much of anything with it.
uh-uh.
Like
Mm-mm.
our quarterback, he was I think number 2 in Alabama at the time, in high school quarterbacks. Connor probably had the most potential out of everybody, and he went and he played for like New Mexico or something like this,
Yep.
So
Same thing with ours. Like our quarterback was Mr. Football for 2A. We were a 2A school. So he was Mr. Football for 2A. And he was great quarterback. He ended up playing in Arizona at a junior college, and then he went to UWA and played. And he was very, very good. He's a Baldwin County deputy now.
yeah, and it's
Nothing wrong with
like
that. There's nothing wrong
yeah,
with that. He's a squared away Baldwin County deputy, but he didn't go to the NFL.
yeah,
So
and a lot of people are like, oh my, this. So my wife doesn't want him to play football. If he wants to play football, he will, but it's not going to be like, well, he's
he's got
5
to.
now, he's
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
It's like no, she said if I become a football mom, it's because it chose me.
Yep.
But we're avoiding that.
All the
and
injuries and
and it's like honestly, I like the idea of putting him in gymnastics because it does train his body for mobility, and same thing with jiu-jitsu, that you don't like you can be a big beefy dude and be a football player, and all you got to do is say hut and then just fall forward and don't let the other guy go past you. You
yeah.
don't necessarily have to be, not everyone's a running back or a
Yeah.
quarterback and all that. But to be a gymnast or in
Take
jujitsu
some
or any,
skill.
it takes skill. You have to train your body and not just in one motion. It's all kinds of different, like, I messed around with it because I was interested in it and like not for any team or anywhere. My cousin had some rings and we got on
Hmm.
the rings and like I was just seeing if I could friggin' do a muscle up on a ring.
Yeah.
It wasn't as smooth as, those
Yeah.
guys that just, yoop. But I got up here, struggled a little bit, shook a little bit with those rings. That's something else that you don't realize the strength that it takes. Because, like, yeah, fine, you get right here. But there's a weird point. It's different doing a muscle up on a bar that is fixed and rings that move. Because on
Hmm.
a bar, you can kind of like bow up on it and go.
Yeah.
When you do rings, if you just try to bow up on it, you can easily cross over. Or if you're too wide, you'll just spread out. So
Yeah.
it's stuff that you don't realize. It's different muscles that come into play. And that kind of went over. So it was around the same time I started doing jiu-jitsu. Heck,
Hmm.
I've got those thick 1 inch mats. Some of them are actually under my son's playpen right now.
Hmm.
But I bought those thick, big, like 2x2. There's enough to easily cover this room.
Yeah.
And I got them. Same thing. My nephew was kind of getting into it. He actually wanted to be a fighter and a lot of that. And my brother, this was in 2020 because I remember it was right before COVID hit. That was another reason I got the mats. I was like, well, I can't really go to the gym. Things are kind of starting to shut down. And we got the mats. My brother came and did it for maybe 2-3 weeks. And then I remember it was like 3 or 4 days after the last time that he came over. I was happy. And my brother is 15 years older than me. Strong dude, like ox, like farm board cornbread strong.
Yeah.
And little brother getting him up, that was good feeling. And then he had an aneurysm like 3 days later, and it was one of those like, did we cause that? Because I was choking him out. Like it wasn't. If it's a matter of getting his arms locked or pressure points or arm bar, yeah, it ain't happening. Like he'll curl that safe up. Well, maybe not really, but he's a strong dude.
Yeah.
But I knew how to find his neck and I knew how to shut it down.
Yeah.
And there was times I could tell he was about to go limp because I'm like, I know I got him cut off. I know he's not breathing. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3. And as he's relaxing, I let go and I feel him. He's like, what? I was fine. I was like, no, bro. He was going to sleep. He was about to snore.
You were about to pass out.
And, but yeah, we were actually pouring that driveway out there. We were pouring concrete and, healthy man his whole life, whatever. He was 40 years old and just fell out just like that, just out of the blue. We just happened to be working at our house, and that's like, it was one of those things looking back. I was like, got to really line that out to happen at the best place it could have, because my dad was here. Like, we were all pouring concrete.
So he's okay.
Yeah, he's miraculously, he's fine.
Yeah.
All the other people that I've heard of that had aneurysms are dead.
Yeah.
That's not a big survival. Like, you're more likely to survive a heart attack than you are a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, he survived. And, it's just one of those, kind of made me think too, is kind of probably wouldn't have thought about it if it didn't happen so close to, but it's like, did I put too much strain on his neck?
Yeah.
And did it? But that's one of those things that, like, later you do your research, you find out it can happen to anybody at any given point. No one is immune to it. No one, there's no cure from it. It's just, hey, your brain's like, I'm gonna take a leak, and that's what happens.
Yep.
So it's crazy.
And you said you're an immigrant. Where's your family from?
So do you know where Moldova is?
Yep.
I was born in Moldova. Our
you were
family
born, so you naturalized citizen?
So, yeah, my parents were. I was under 18, so I fell under them.
Okay.
And in boot camp, they kept asking me if I wanted to be a citizen. I was like, bro, I am. I was 10 when my parents became citizens, like naturalized citizens. But,
so your parents have a thick accent, everything.
Yeah, like my mom doesn't speak English.
Really?
Yeah, we moved here in 99, so she had time.
So Moldova, that's like near Bosnia.
It's in between Ukraine and Romania.
Yeah.
It's right there in the bottom. My last name is Bernyuk, it's a Ukrainian last name. So my family lineage, heritage, whatever, we're Ukrainian, and but at the time it was all Soviet Union. So my grandparents, they moved from what was Ukraine. Like I said, at the time it was Soviet Union no matter what, but the territory that they were in was Ukraine. Then they moved to Moldova, and then in 93, I think, when everything fell apart, we were in Moldova. And my dad actually moved. We came here on refugee status. He's a pastor, and there was all kinds of mess going on there. And on top of that, my brother was turning 18. He didn't want him joining the military because there, once you're 18,
you got to join.
Yeah, you're joining. 2 years minimum. But um, he didn't want him joining. Not so much he didn't want him in the military. It was like this country just fell apart. No one knows what's going on. It's
Yeah.
like it's a mess. I
Yeah.
don't want my son no part of this. So we come to the States, and then in high school, I'm like, I want to be a military. That's
Yeah.
like that's why I ended up doing college, and it was one of those I didn't want to take that away from them. Like um they created that opportunity, and I'm the youngest of five.
Uh-huh.
So my brother's the oldest. It's him. He's 15 years older than me. Then I got a sister who's 13 years older than me. Got another one that's 11 years older than me, and then 9 years older than me. So I'm the youngest by a lot.
They all have accents other than you?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's wild.
Some less than others, but yeah,
Yeah.
they're all. My sister that's 9 years older than me, she is probably closest to me as far as accent goes.
Uh-huh.
But she lives in Seattle, and then I got a sister that lives in Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got a sister that lives here, and brother lives here. Me and my brother are in business together. Well, he's he's a contractor, he's a home builder, he does his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I run the tree company,
Mm-hmm.
and he does my stump grinding for me.
Hell yeah.
So it works out. He's in business. He's been in business for probably 20 years. So like he came to the States, he
American dream.
pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, down to the T. My they always preached school on us.
Mm-hmm.
My parents did. They wanted kind of they were pushing the American dream, like, hey, you come here, you go to school, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be, whatever. And my sister, she became a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think my other sister, she was an accountant for a little bit, and then she got married. She had kids. She became a stay-at-home mom. My other
Mm-hmm.
sister, same thing. And they do the typical immigrant thing of clean houses.
Oh yeah, hell
but
yeah.
uh
Hell yeah.
but they do pretty good doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my dad was like, "You're the youngest. If your sister did it, then you definitely have more room than anyone to do it. You've got the most opportunity." And it was a lot of like, "Hey, don't squander this."
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it. I didn't want to be like, hate to put it this way, but I didn't want to give them the opportunity to go, "I told you so." It was
Yeah.
more of like, I wanted to go, "No, see, I told you so." Because
Yeah.
when I joined the Marines, I went to boot camp, did all that, and my dad wasn't happy with it. At first, they were very against it and like not supportive. Then it was kind of like, "Okay, Dad, I went to college, I'm still gonna do military thing," and I was like, "But I'm gonna go reserves." It was kind of meeting in the middle. Honestly, ended up being the best thing that could have happened to me. I got to do stuff active duty guys dream of.
Yeah.
But whenever I went, and I remember my dad called me. I was in Virginia. It was January. It was snowing. It was
Mm-hmm.
my dad knew it had been snowing. He was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Well, it was cold for that 5 minute walk till I got to the office." He was like, "What are you doing in the office?" I was like, "Well, that's it's my job." He's like, and this was the part where I was like, "Hey, man," because he was like, "You're in the Marines and you go to office." I was like, "Look," because he's Soviet military. I mean, he was,
Oh,
uh,
he was in the Soviet military. No
yeah,
shit.
yeah, he
Okay.
was. There's pictures of him and in his uniform and all that stuff. So he's like, "You're in the Marines and you're going to an office." I was like, "Look, you wanted this for me," and it kind of opened his eyes up. He's like, "Oh, it's not the military that I
Yeah.
imagined, the way
A
I
little
looked at it."
different. A
Yeah.
little
So
different.
it opened him up to, hey, there's this possibility of, a career in this. And he wasn't all super happy about me doing it, but he was like, "Okay, this is not what I thought it was."
Yeah.
And then I ended up, once I was done with my job, school, and everything, that was the extent of my active duty. I got to the unit that I ended up at Third Force, and I stayed there till I got out. And I say all the time, even my cousin ended up joining after me. He went in the
Mm-hmm.
Marines too. And he went active duty, I guess, to prove a point to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, "Man, you just got lucky. Like your career, you just got lucky." I was like, No, I went in. I didn't have to prove anything to anybody. I was like, I joined the reserves because to me it was like there was times that I was like, man, I wish I'd have went active duty because I was getting married. I had to figure out my housing situation. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if I was in the Marines right now, active duty, they give me a house, they give me everything. I ain't got to worry
Mm-hmm.
about nothing. It's just go to work, show
Mm-hmm.
up. So there was times I wished I was active duty, and everyone's like, "Oh, lucky you're reservist." But it did work out. I got to be in the reserves. I went to schools. That was something else. Active duty guys, they got a job they got to be at, and whenever they want to go to a school, their NCO or whoever's in charge of them is not. They're usually like, "No, we need you in the shop, or we need you doing
Yeah.
this."
Yeah.
Me, I showed up. My job was to plan deployments. Our unit doesn't deploy as a unit, they attach to others.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there was a billet for my job, I didn't do my job. So I ended up doing basically whatever the opportunity was there. That, hey, you want to go to coach's course for the range? Yes. That was like I was at my unit for 6 months. And they're like, all right, you can go. Went and did that. Then they're like, hey, we got this coxswain's course for the safety boat. You go out
Mm-hmm.
to Coronado, learn the ropes. No pun intended, but you learn the ropes with the boats and you get your cert. So I got certified on that. Then I went to CMT, which is a combat marksmanship trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So went to that course in Quantico. So I got to do all these schools. There's a couple more in the mix there, but I got to keep going to these schools because one, I wasn't a shitbird,
Yeah.
and that helped,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and that also helped me get promoted because I fully expected going in. I was like, this reserves, I'm never gonna promote. This is just gonna suck. Blah blah blah. Well, I went in and um, it took me, I think, 2 years to pick up corporal, but then I picked up corporal, and then a year later I picked up sergeant. But it was also one of those things. Anytime they needed someone, since I really didn't have a job and I was getting bored anyway, I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? So it was cool getting to run ranges a little bit. I remember I messed up my first range that I was um, supposed to run. I remember my master sergeant top looked at me. He was like, "Hey, this is your show. You got this. You're fucking the chicken. We're just holding the legs."
Yeah.
That's what he said, and I was like, oh,
Uh,
"What does that mean?" But I like it. So, and turns out I forgot to pack the targets for the 500-yard line. We were I know it was a 5-hour drive from our unit to the range that we were at. I think we were at Schofield.
mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Where's the targets?" I was like, "I thought I grabbed them." I grabbed the targets, but it was the refaces. So like the targets are like the size of this wall. They're like
Mm-hmm.
8 by 8 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Huge.
I mean, at 500 yards, you're
Yeah. They're
supposed to see them.
tiny. Yeah.
So what I grabbed was for the B mods. I grabbed just the refaces, the little small sections. They weren't
Mm-hmm.
the whole targets. So that was a whoops on my part. And I remember my section is like, dude, how you messed that up? I was like, I thought I had it. They're like, you're a sergeant. You're supposed to know this stuff. And I was like, don't yell at me. But that was my whoops. And I learned it. That's like anything, like whether
Yeah.
we talked about competition shooting or anything. Only way to figure out how to
Just
do it
doing
is
it.
do it.
Doing it.
I'm getting into real estate now. I've heard about it and I've wanted to do it. I'm not gonna learn just thinking about it, or I can listen to every podcast there is on it.
You
You're
gotta
still
do it.
not gonna
You
figure
gotta
out
do
till you
it.
do it. So
That's what my sister's into now. She lives in Tallahassee and she's making big money.
there's
Big
I
money.
picked up I'll tell you actually what got me on that is I picked up a client. He's a real estate agent, and he bought his first house in October,
Mm-hmm.
or it was November, and he wanted some trees removed. I did those for him, and he was like, "Oh wow, well I'm just gonna get all these houses that people steer away from because they might have a scary looking tree over it or
Mm-hmm.
whatever." He's like, "You're gonna do my houses." I just uh, last week I went and quoted like 4 or 5 more houses for him. I've done three. I don't remember if it's 3 or 4 that I've already done for him since November.
Mm-hmm.
So in 6 months, and he's just buying up houses. And he's like, he's only 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, dude, he said, let me hook you up with this. He said, I'll teach you what I know. And he's like, I'm still learning as I'm going along.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I'm going to teach you what I know. And it's one of those things that, like, it's definitely nerve wracking, but it's exciting to
Mm-hmm.
take that step and to be
Yeah.
able to, um, it's for me, it's not so much like, oh, I want to drive around this Lamborghini or whatever, be a big rich man. And like, no, I just want to go hunting when I want to, and I want to go on a trip when I want
Mm-hmm.
to, and not be worried, or even just for the business that I'm in now. Right now, business is booming. It's hurricane season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be busy, but the last 2 years, come October to December, when everyone's saving money for Christmas and no one's caring about getting their tree cut, and it's slow, and you got 10 grand in overhead a month that you got to pay one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Kind of tough.
It'd be nice to have that passive income
Yeah.
to, cuz I cut trees. Yeah, it pays decent, but I enjoy it. And my guys will tell you that we'll get a sucky job here and there, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But when the machine is well oiled, all the stuff ain't broke.
Yeah.
I just had to fix this morning. I fixed my carrier bearing on my chip truck. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that went out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to fix it is good. I don't mind a challenge, but assuming everything's working, all the equipment's going good, I love it. Like
Yeah.
if I had the passive income, like I don't have to go to work and I can pay for everything, I'd still be doing it. Honestly, the only thing that would change is my equipment.
Yeah.
I'd just buy fancier toys.
Yeah. No, that's yeah, that's how it is, man. That's how it is. The more money you make doesn't mean you're gonna have more money. It just means you're
No,
gonna spend
no.
more
I used
money
to
on
think
cooler stuff.
I made a goal whenever I graduated high school and got my first job. I made a goal to make more money this year than I did last year, and uh, I've been out of high school now for 11 years. It's held true every year, and it could have been $50 more in the previous year,
Mm-hmm.
but I was gonna make more than I made last year,
Yeah.
and it's built up. The hard part is once you reach a certain point, it hurts to fall back,
Yeah, it does.
but reaching up is hard to reach too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I still say, hey, if it's 50 cents more this year than last year,
Yeah. That's all that
then it's
matters.
still more.
That's all that matters.
And I love doing what I do. I don't think, even if I had everything magically paid off for, I won the lottery, and an idle mind is a devil's workshop, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd go work probably full time in the bayou,
What, PD?
with PD. Just I like the I like the small town,
Yeah.
like, because the my LT, he's like, he's a great cop. He'd go
Yeah.
to Mobile and be, brass pretty quick.
Yeah.
But he's like, I grew up here. This is my community. I
Mm-hmm.
like it here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Knowing him, he'd probably want to run for, mayor or something one day. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's that community that the people and the people know you. Um, Pay's not that great, but that's why I don't do it. That's why I do it on the
For fun.
side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I
I just
got.
show up and like, oh, we got a DUI, do everything. Like, all right, well, I gotta go. Have fun with that
Yeah.
report. 5 hours of papers.
One of my best buddies, he's actually going to that Darcy class with me. He's reserved with us at our agency, and I've been trying to get him to come over forever. And he makes six figures, dude. He's leaving his job to come and be full time at my job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So, but he wants to do all the kind. Like he's squared away, man. Like he's gonna get on our SWAT team, and he's
yeah.
gonna be, he's jam up. He owns his own photography business too, dude. So like,
So he can
takes
do it on the. That's
yeah, yeah. He's gonna be just fine. Like he hates his job. He works like for Chimera Chemical or whatever. It used to be Chimera. I don't think it's Chimera anymore. But he's a plant manager,
yeah.
and it like sucks. He's just
Depending on what PD you're with, you can make. I'm not gonna say you can make bank as a cop, but you can make
like
decent
pretty
money.
good. Where I'm
Especially
at.
if you stay where you're at, you do right. You manage your money. That's another thing. As long as you don't try to keep up with the Jones on everything. I know plenty of cops that do good.
Yeah, dude.
And then the retirement's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I made like almost 80K last year. Like,
Yeah.
not
And for not being a huge...
For something I like to do.
Yeah.
For a place I like to work at.
That is a very respectable... Especially, where we are... Because I'll put it this way. Seattle, their cops start pay is 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give you a $20,000 bonus just to come on with them.
Yeah,
but that don't get you nothing. Mm-hmm. And no, like honestly, $100,000 a year in Seattle is the equivalent of about 40 here. And it sounds ridiculous, but it is. It's just the cost of living is
ridiculous. Yeah, nuts.
Yeah.
I mean they pay us really good where I'm at, man. And if you want money, you can get the money. And like
you work side jobs.
I have 5% for SWAT. I get 7 hours overtime every week for K9. I get 7 hours every pay period for FTO. They offer an EMT school. If you pass that, you get 5%, 10% for each rank. I'm
sure you probably got at least 5 or 10 boosts for the...
Yeah, my bachelor's degree, I got 10%. Dude, they'll pay for your school where I'm at. Like,
it's there.
I can't, and it's a fun job. I like where I work. I like the people I work with. I've got a good
and you can probably enjoy it because it's not like MPD where it's such a busy. I mean,
yeah,
they go 10-8 and they're
30 calls
waiting.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the hell with that. Like I had,
and it's for stupid stuff. It's repeat customers. Like, it's a DV.
That's last week. I think that's everywhere, but the calls are going to be that's just most of the calls you deal with are going to be kind of trivial matters. But, like today, I was in one of our less busy areas. I had 3 calls today. I still did other stuff. I made 2 dope cases today, but like I have time to do that.
Yeah. Because you're not answering baby mama drama.
Yep. I can go to the house if I want to. I live in the city, so I can go to the house, eat something. I can go, we get an hour on shift to work out every day, which is nice.
Is that just being SWAT or just y'all's agency?
The agency. Dang. Yeah, the agency.
See, only SWAT gets that kind of treatment with MPD.
Yeah, we get an hour on shift to work out. We don't have to go 10-10 for eating. We can just go to our house.
Stop talking because he's gonna leave me. Talking about an hour to you work out longer than an hour.
Yeah, we
that's a pre-warm up.
It's not bad. I get to do dog stuff while I'm at work. There's some days where I may not go to the gym. I may take the hour to go to the range and shoot. If I
Y'all have a range?
We do. It's not. It's not like it's not like super high speed, but it's a range.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the city and I want to go shoot, I can do pretty much everything I want to do. And my SWAT commander is awesome. So I'll just be like, hey, you mind if I get 5 or 6 boxes of 223? Yeah, that's fine. Grabs me 5 or 6 boxes. If I want some ammo, give me 9mm, 40, well, we have 40 right now. We're swapping a 9mm. But at the time, 40, I'll be like, hey, can I get a couple boxes of 40? Yeah, sure. And so I'll go out there and I'll shoot. And my PD's really good about like listening to stuff. So we just got Glock 45 MOSs, and they were like trying to figure out what kind of dots to get, stuff like that, because they're gonna let us have dots. And one of my lieutenants was like, hey, what are good dots to get? What are some good options? And I was like, well, aim point acros. Yep, that's what I just bought. Yep,
Let me slap a microwave on top of my gun.
Dude, they're badass. I'm gonna tell you something.
I've seen
they're
the torture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You watch Sage Dynamics, the Sage Dynamics review.
I think that's who it was.
Yeah,
were they
Aaron
like beating
Cowan.
it against the center blocks?
Yeah. So I gave them a few different options, and they put that in the lit. So they actually listen to guys at the department. They don't just have this like, this is how it always has been, and this is how it's going to be. They listen to what we have to say, and they, sometimes you pull yourself. Hey, what do you think would help morale? What do you think would help? And that's why we don't lose a whole bunch of people.
Yeah,
we retain people
because I don't know what y'all's policy is on facial hair, but
We can't have it, but
for now.
small potatoes.
Oh yeah.
Small potatoes.
Well,
Like,
and I mean, your neighboring agency, they no go for the longest time. They finally let them have
Yeah.
it, and but then they said no to red dots because one of the brass members of the agency couldn't shoot worth the shit anyway, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, they're not allowed, and it's
Yeah,
like,
see,
bruh.
dude, so our range guys, usually range guys are like the ones that are against that kind of stuff. Like, you talk to Mobile Cities guys, you talk to Mobile Counties guys, and you talk about their range guys, and they're like, dude, they're the worst. Our range guys are like all for that stuff.
Oh, they're
all
queer.
for,
They're
yeah, dude, and you'd be surprised. Like, we have one sergeant there that, like, just looking at him, you would not think that he's as well versed as he is. He's very quiet. He's, you would not, like, the first time he told me, I think we should go to 9mm red dots, my jaw about dropped.
Yeah.
I was like,
thought you were a FUD.
There's no way this dude's saying that.
I thought you said Smith & Wesson 40 cal.
Dude, I really thought he'd be that type of guy. And he blew my mind. He's like, it'd probably help our scores. And I was like, awesome. So, yeah, like, dude, our admin's great. Like, we're a very proactive agency. We can go out there and police. If I have to, now, if I pull over grandma and I curse her out, I'll probably get in trouble. But if somebody is acting a fool and I have to curse them or I have to go hands on, I won't hear anything about it.
Oh yeah,
I can go out there.
Y'all have body cams.
I can go out there and do what I need to do. We chase till the wheels fall off. They want proactivity.
Well, that's how you get retention. Whereas other agencies will bring in $1,000 an hour spokesperson to sit there and go, well, the officers are being too aggressive and they're not gonna like.
Yeah, it's not that way with us.
When you got cops putting their like, and I don't mean this in a cliche way. I'm talking. There's photo and body cam footage of a red dot being pointed at you, and then you're concerned about, oh, you said you dropped the F-bomb or something. Like, really? How about you go get in the situation? But that's like kicking a dead horse.
Dude, we got a great chief, we got a great admin, they back us, and I will say the place I work at is the best smaller agency, hands down. But I would say, dude, like, now, don't get me wrong, like,
good too, but that's whole nother county.
Like, gig with the city,
dream
for sure, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's retiring from that.
But aside from that, I'm talking about just agency at face value. And us.
Oh yeah,
I would say are the best.
That agency is, unless you're in that sweet spot, that agency sucks.
Yeah,
from
there's no way.
Guys that I know. Now there are some situations that are good.
Yeah.
But everyone, like my best friend, he was there, and he ended up moving. Like his wife joined the military, so they were moving anyway. But when he put in his 2 weeks, they say, hey, if you have any questions, comments, as your exit letter, give us some advice. And he goes, you want to worry about, and he's like, you're wondering why your retention sucks? This is why. And he was very respectful about it. It wasn't like just like, y'all suck. And he's like, you're worried about you're worried about facial hair. Why? What does that do? If anything, it makes someone, it's makeup for dudes. It really is. Say what you want.
Yeah.
But, and, it's like, you're worried about red dots. Like, implement training. Hey, if you carry a red dot, set parameters, but make it attainable. Make it something that someone has something to look forward to versus just, no, like a mom or dad. That's because I said so. And that's what a lot of that agency is. It sucks that stuff going on with I don't know who's replacing their chief, but dude, that's a whole nother
can of
thing.
worms.
Like that.
Yeah.
That man has a lot of people standing behind him.
Yeah.
I tried to
we don't have to deal with all that.
I reached out to him actually about coming and doing a podcast, and
Really?
he messaged back. He said, "Yeah," he said, "I'm about it." He said, "I'll get back with you." Kind of in
After
a
all
lot
the
of
legal.
He's like, "I'm in a lot of shit right now." He said, "But I'd love to." That sounds good. I was like, "Oh man, I just rolled the dice." And so,
Well, dude, I probably got some other people that'd probably like to come on if you're needing people like my buddy.
We're trying to do at least. We're shooting for 2 episodes a month, but at least one.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's one every 3 weeks instead of one every other week, that's fine. Because right now we're just trying to, especially
Toes in the water.
he understands that we're in the busy schedule right now, busy season. So we got trucks breaking down. We got to try to get stuff fixed on the weekend. I don't like putting the podcast on the back burner. So like as soon as I have a guest, hey, let's make it happen. I tried to get everything done during the day, and he did the same. He adjusted his schedule. Like, hey, we're shooting at this time, we're gonna make it happen. So whether it's Saturdays, Sundays, sometimes if it's got to be on a weeknight, I want to try and make it happen because I this is another thing I enjoy. I get to meet good people, and a lot of time, like the way that I get guests is either word of mouth, like recommend you, like hey, if it says good to go, then he's good to go, or it's advertising of like I'll reach out to someone like, hey, you want to be on it? I've got a couple of guys that I served with that are willing to come out, but man, if you got a guy,
so good buddies with the guy I was talking about, or whatever. Says Mobile County.
That's the guy you were talking about.
He's their explosive preacher from Mobile County, and he's also canine handler, all that. He does way cooler stuff than I do. Like, so
there's cooler stuff than I do apparently too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably the most least interesting guest you've probably had on out of the 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But
so far,
but he's got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I mean, they're always getting into stuff.
I'm the host, and I'm not that interesting, so you're good, man.
Yeah. No, that's what I was telling. I was like, dude, I don't know if he'd actually want me on the podcast. Like, I'm just a patrol guy, like for real, part-time SWAT and canine. That's it. But like as far as I do mainly just city cop stuff. I've had some interesting. I mean, I've seen a lot of interesting stuff, but not like what county dudes are like. Shit, dude. They were looking for a guy one time, and they did a waterborne operation, like just because they were like, hey, it'd be really cool if we put fins on and like infield to this house, and they're like, we'll infield to this house on with fins, and so that's what they did, just for shits and giggles. So they do a lot cooler stuff. Yeah, kind of, sure, but
well, we're gonna wrap this one up. That'll be it for this episode. We're running out of, I think, battery and card and time. Are you on shift tomorrow again?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah.
And you got a little hike
6
back.
6 a.m. comes early, so thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share all the stuff that that YouTube wants you to do and I want you to do. Appreciate it, and see you on the next episode.
Cool.
I was gonna slap that, but then I thought.
Oh, that was fun. That was a lot easier going than I. Man, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna talk about?